and they write this song. We go to Clive, and now he's at the Belvedere Hotel, always a Bungalow 8. I'm sure you heard that from other people. That was mega. And when we came there, Prince walked out, casually. Oh, hello, Prince. Again, maybe we're just not meant to be here. Like, this is too high level. Like, we go in and we press play, and he stops after the first song. We had 3 songs again, and he goes, 1 second. And he goes, Roy Lott, I need you to go in the room with Soulshock and Karlin's manager. We're buying this record right now on the spot. And they're not leaving until they sign the contract. And I'm like, what? And that was before he walked out of my life. And guess who's calling? L.A. Reid. He goes, love this record. We want Toni Braxton to record it. I'm like, fuck yeah. Who cares? Monica. Who knows? No one knows who Monica is. Hip hop studio in LA. And Skip Saylor, the owner of the studio, comes running into my room and he goes, fucking Clive Davis is on the phone for you. And I go, how does he know I'm here? And Skip goes, how does he know me? I'm my recording studio. But you should run. And so I run out and I pick up the phone and he goes, this is Clive Davis. I go, yeah. He goes, you will record before you walk out my life with me. And you know why? I go, no, because I'm fucking Clive Davis, and you won't work in this industry if you don't. We did Monica. When we did Do for Love, Parker passed away.
Yeah.
And Afeni called me and said, you know, I only want people, he has a lot of material. We think about putting out some stuff he didn't finish, but I only want people that he really worked with to do it. And I remember she came up, and actually the first song we did was not Do for Love. It was I Wonder If Heaven Got a Ghetto. And I don't know if you can imagine, we were sitting with Afeni and we had these big speakers and we just put the a cappella on because there's no music underneath.
Hi guys, I want to welcome you to another edition of Halftime Chat. And today I've got another special guest. I'm talking to the producer. He's also a DJ, and he goes by the name of Soulshock. And he's part of the big R&B production crew of Soulshock and Karlin out of Denmark. So it's going to be great talking to him, seeing his career, his background, his inspiration, and talking about going through some of the tracks that he produced from Whitney Houston's Heartbreak Hotel, Monica's Before You Walked Out of My Life, Do for Love by Tupac, and so many others. Okay, take care. Back, yeah, it's fine.
Okay, great. Then we'll just do it without earbuds. How are you?
I am doing very well. I'm doing very well. It is about 10 o'clock here in the UK.
Yeah, I was just about saying you guys run it late, huh?
Yes, well, yeah. I mean, I'm a full-time mental health therapist working with children. So this is
Oh,
my
beautiful.
So I do my clinics in the morning. So when everyone goes to bed, my kids, my wife, then I can do my hobby at night.
Then you can do your thing.
Do my thing, yes.
Then you can do your show.
Yeah, I can do that. So yeah, and I started this during lockdown, and yeah, it's been fun just hearing the stories and putting a face. I mean, as I said, most of us even know how you look like. We know your music, but we don't.
I
We didn't.
know.
Yes, yeah.
Let me
Um,
tell you one thing. It's so funny when there was this big website, one of those soul R&B websites, and they put out a picture of us, and they're like, "This is all the hits that we're doing," and people were like, "No way!
yeah, yes, 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 yeah.
Don't tell me these 2 white boys from Denmark did all those records. No way!"
Yeah, I mean, being British. Well, I'm British. I went to university in America, but there's a lot of soul. We from George and Michael. We know the Beatles. They enjoyed sort of rock and roll,
Oh
so
yeah,
it's understandable here in the UK. And most of our DJs play soul and R&B and stuff and hip hop.
yeah,
So, but I know in
yeah.
America it's very different. So, yes,
I mean, I don't know if we're recording, but
yeah, yeah, yeah. We
I
can go.
can
Yeah,
tell you if you want.
yeah, go.
This since we're touching that subject, we came over here, well, I got to go further back because, my original start to the music industry and everything is because of these two guys here, my decks. I was a DJ for many years. And in 1989, I became third in the world in the World Championship in mixing and scratching, which was DMC. It was held at Royal Albert Hall.
Okay,
it was England who had this world. Yeah, they had their World Championship, and one of the judges was DJ Red Alert.
Oh, okay.
And that's really the beginning of my career because I lived with my parents. I was so young, so I just went back to my little farmer town in Denmark, and it truly was. And then I got a phone call from Flavor Unit, and that was DJ Red Alert's new management company he had with a guy called Dave Funkenklein. And he said, we really like that show you did. We're doing a tour with Queen Latifah, Jungle Brothers, Chill Wop G, and True Mathematics. And we want you to DJ on that tour, but not just do your show. We want you to also be Latifah's DJ and Chill Wop G's DJ and True Mathematics DJ. I mean, it was just, what? Say that again? It was such an incredible, incredible honor. And I flew to New York. And for me, I was just into the music. My first experience with music was Grandmaster Flash, The Wheels of Steel.
Wow.
And ever since I heard that record, it was just, that's it. But I didn't know the culture of hip hop. I didn't know really what it expressed. I just liked the music and I could hear what they were talking about, but I was just, the beats and everything was really what I was focused on. I came to New York and I stayed with Audio 2 and MC Light.
Wow.
And yeah, they were kind of helping me out a little bit because they were friends with Red Alert and stuff like that. But I mean, it was like, whoa. All of a sudden I was in it, and I was in Brooklyn, Flatbush Avenue in the late 80s. And my mom was like, how is it? And I'm like, quite different. And during that whole venture, that was my whole point, because we're touching this subject of, being a little white boy in hip hop music. It didn't exist. There were no M&Ms at all. There were like, few third bass later on. Had a white kid, but it was really unusual. And, I'm so thankful to this day that Latifah and Red Alert gave me this experience, because I would go on this tour and I would tour in a lot in Europe too. But a lot of times when I went on stage, I got booed.
Oh, wow. In Europe or in the US?
Well, because, they were here to see like straight out the jungle. Latifah was wearing African costumes. And Jungle Brothers were like in full jungle gear and stuff like that. So I had to scratch and mix real fast. And I was like, oh, okay, he's cool with it. And it came up to me actually a little bit on the tour bus. I remember after many months of touring, it's just like, and also experiencing, New York. I got shot at in New York at a
what?
Yeah, at a club. Red Alert had to spin in different clubs around in New York, but hip hop clubs in like 1989 were like, it was gritty. And there was someone who wasn't feeling the DJ, and I just, it's just a really rough experience coming from Denmark. And I remember saying to Latifah, you know what? After we've been touring for a while, I said, I don't know, maybe maybe I should not be doing this.
Yeah. Did the bullet actually hit you?
No, I didn't get hit. No, I didn't get hit. The promoter just told me that there's something going on, just people in the crowd getting rowdy, and and also what's this white boy doing up there, kind of thing. What kind of thing. It was just one of those. It was a tough little feeling back, and it's not like England where we used to different cultures in hip hop. Most hip hop in England were mixed and stuff like that. It was never really an issue because we as a country, England, Denmark, especially Denmark, it's just more natural. But in New York, no, not in the late 80s. It was unusual. But anyways, I just remember he was like, oh yeah, you gotta duck down under the turntables, stay safe. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, have my needles up, and I just hear over me. And I wish I could tell you some Superman story, but I crawled on all fours out and called my mom on the phone box as we had in New York back then, and said, I'm coming home. So I had experienced some stuff, and I just remember saying to Latifah, I was like, I love this music so much. I am so into this music, and I live and breathe it. But I'm just starting to sense maybe not. And she took my hands, just my hands, and she goes, "Don't you ever let the color of your skin make it determine any decisions in life for you." And it was so reversed because hey, wait, I'm the white, okay, but she used some of the experiences she felt in being in
A
in
bit
the corporate
female.
white world or something,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
And it was just incredible. And that was really the moment where I'm like, okay, thank you, because I respect her so much. So I owe so much to Red Alert and Latifah, and Jungle Brothers for the beginning of my career.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it'd be great to go back to the fact that you're from, well, I always ask my guests where they were born and raised. You've said Denmark. Now, um, most of us know Denmark as the home of Lego and Danish pastry. So, 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 outside of,
Great.
and Carl's, and, I'm a
Let
Liverpool
me bring out
supporter.
my Lego gear for you.
Yeah, yeah. I'm surprised you don't have a big Lego
Yeah.
mix at the
Let me
back.
get my, hey, Nikolai, can you get me some Legos, please?
And as a Liverpool supporter, the home of Carlsberg beer. But what was it like growing up in Denmark?
Oh, I am, Liverpool, and my best friend supports Liverpool.
Jan
I'm myself
Mobley,
Madrid,
yeah.
and again, Mølby was amazing, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you've had some other things. Yeah, there
We
was
had
a
Daniel
couple. Maybe
Agger.
it was the biggest one, but
Daniel Agger.
I was just about to say, great
Yeah.
defensive player.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Oh my God, my team is Madrid, so yeah,
Okay.
so we're good. Yeah.
But what was it like growing up in Denmark?
I'm from the northern part of Denmark, which is kind of like it's
Near
called
Greece,
Jutland.
Greenland, or is it
Yeah, Jutland is called, yeah. So you got like where the capital is, Copenhagen.
Copenhagen?
We're
Yeah.
not. We're the farmers.
Okay.
We're Jutland, a lot of cows, a lot
Wow.
of farms, and I grew up with very traditional home. My dad was working at professor at the university and stuff like that. Very academic family. So when I said, "Yeah, I'm going to New York to make beats," just not at all registering, no idea what I was talking about. But they got used to the sound of this because I was practicing 8 hours a day in my room on my turntable. So,
But
but growing up, really traditional upbringing in Denmark. And, I remember around those years, 11, 12, 13, 14, you start to want to fit in,
yeah.
right? So teamwork, you find your little clique. And it was really hard in Denmark because first I was like, I was a little bit of a tough guy. You are in the farmers, you're always like, farmer boys always, farmer boys. And so I was kind of like with the rock, heavy metal, the
Uh,
bike kind of thing. And I'm like listening to the music, and I'm like, this is terrible.
wow.
So I left that, and then I went in the other posse that was kind of like they were listening to Wham, and I had
Okay.
like pink shirts on and stuff, and I'm like, this is terrible. And I had such a hard time fitting in that I kind of hanging out with people listening to The Cure and Sex
Mm,
Pistols and stuff like that. And I didn't, I was okay, but I was coming home at night sometimes going, what's wrong with me? How come I can't, like,
wow.
why am I fitting in? And that's the moment when I heard on Danish national radio, Grandmaster Flash, The Wheels of Steel. And I can't explain to you why, but
Wow.
it was just a moment for me. I was like, that's it. And I called all my friends, and there's one friend in particular who said, oh, that's that new style from New York. It's called hip hop. And I went all in. And you got to figure out what to do. You're going to make graffiti, you're going to rap, you're going to break dance. And very fast, I found out I was not good at any of those. But music spoke to me. And I saw all the rappers had DJs behind them. And I started studying, all the DJs like, Howie T and Cash Money and Jazzy Jeff and Mixmaster Ice from UTFO. And I
Wow.
got really into studying all the styles, scratching and mixing. And that became my life.
No, no, okay, so as I said, maybe those in America might not really comprehend the fact that Denmark, apart from Scandinavia, has ABBA and Ace of Base. You really, it just seems a mile away from hip hop. The fact that a radio station is playing that, it just seems like, well, how did they even get a hold of that? And then I'm sure your parents like, well, what are they saying?
What are you doing?
No, but
Oh,
English,
totally.
this hip
Well,
hop and everything, yeah.
yes, but we had a little bit of a breakdance commercial moment when
Okay.
hip hop came out. You had all the big movies breaking and stuff like that.
Breaking, yeah,
Wild
Toba
Style.
Nova Zone, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And there was like, breakdance became like everybody's running around with white gloves and doing the robot and all that stuff. So it wasn't super unusual to get into the culture because at that time it had a momentum. I think
Okay.
you probably in England too, we started seeing people breaking the streets and
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
which we had in Denmark too, believe it or not.
Oh,
Uh, but when that faded away, because that was just this breakdance trend, then the real hip hop b-boys as we were, we stayed on, and that was really challenging because now we were like, what are you doing with this? That's over.
yeah,
I was told over and over, hip hop is over. It's going to be 3 years, 2 years. It's never going to be anything. Look at today.
yeah,
The hip hop has absolutely outrun any other genre, and
yeah,
its impact in commercial businesses, like from cars to homes to everything, fashion. Hip hop is a major influence of everything
yeah.
we see in our culture today. So
Oh,
that's a big win for us.
yeah, no, it's true. But why the turntables? Because when I interviewed Grandmaster D from Houdini, I said to
Wow.
him, he says, well,
Major respect for that, by the way.
he,
When you say stuff like that, you go back to my youth here. Yes,
yeah,
we
because
love
he was
Houdini.
saying, but
Yes,
back in those days, the DJ was the person, and the MC was you get an MC because the DJ did the parties, and so the MC they were more
right.
important than the MC. So it was
Right.
interesting the fact that why you decided to do to be the DJ. Were you thinking I'm going to get some MCs locally to rap over what I'm doing, or what was your thoughts?
Not at all. I was only into how did Grandmaster Flash do the Wheels of Steel.
Wow.
And I studied and I found out that he originally did that on 3 turntables.
Oh,
So that's why it was so hard to do too, because he's changing records really fast.
wow.
And when you only have 2 turntables, you will have to have the vinyl stacked on top of each other. So you just put it on this vinyl to make it as fast as he did it.
Yeah.
So I just became obsessed with that song, and that was all turntable and DJing. So it was pretty clear from the beginning that's what I was going to do because it was the sounds that got me into the culture. And also, when I did my first graffiti piece, you know, I showed my friends, they're like, I don't think it's going to be graffiti.
It is interesting that you actually really are a student from hip hop from the beginning because a lot of people might have heard some of the influences of your later production and thought that, he's taking stuff from some of our hip hop producers and mixing him, whether it's Dilla and people like that, without
Well,
realizing
I
your
want to do.
his yeah.
I'm so happy we talk about this because that's actually one of the saddest things slash best things. Do for Love, we adored Jay Dilla. Jay Dilla for us hip hop producers is God. And Q-Tip too, by the way, just so
Yeah.
you know, those 2 guys are the first one who starts taking different pieces, but not from the same record. They would have like a bridge or something going in before the hook from another record. They would have horns from a third record on top of other sample. And I always hated when all these rock producers were like, "Oh man, you guys are just stealing stuff." Have you tried to put together a hip hop record? Because that's a lot harder to play a Van Halen solo. You can just
Mhm.
copy. It's so complicated to make hip hop. So I never took that. So when we do for love is a special moment in my life because we have worked with Pac, and I'm so happy that I got to work with him. We did a song called Old School. That was one of my first times I worked with him, and that was about East Coast hip hop. It was incredible because I knew everything about East Coast, and you forget Pac is from New York.
You forget, yeah.
I know he's the West Coast, but no, he is East Coast. So we had so much fun doing that record together because it was all about paying respect to all the original legends. And when the next record I did with him, when he called me, and I remember I was on Sunset Boulevard, and he said, man, that record you did is going to be the title for my next album. I don't know if you can imagine being a little white boy from Denmark, but Me Against the World is our song we did with Tupac. That was the title of his album. It was so overwhelming. We were so
Wow.
thankful of it. When we did Do for Love, Pac had passed away.
Yeah.
And Afeni called me and said, you know, I only want people, he has a lot of material. We think about putting out some stuff he didn't finish, but I only want people that he really worked with to do it. And I remember she came up, and actually the first song we did was not Do for Love. It was I Wonder If Heaven Got a Ghetto. And I don't know if you can imagine, we were sitting with Afeni and we had these big speakers and we just put the a cappella on because there's no music underneath. And he's talking about, I wonder if heaven got a ghetto, and he just passed away. And Afeni is just crying next to me. It
Wow.
was almost like speaking down from the speakers. And his original idea was this kind of up-tempo Bruce horn, I think it was called, piano. And I thought it was okay. And I said to Afeni, can I try to do something else? And she goes, sure. And I did this, I don't know if you know the record, but I did this version of I Wonder If Heaven Got a Ghetto. That's the one they played at least over here in America. And I actually let him go. I take the beat half tempo. So Pac kind of bounces, which was the current style. JC started doing all that stuff.
Mm.
And it was so magical. And I found this cameo sampling, whatever. So I was so excited about it. And my wife, who passed away, Maxie,
Oh,
who was part of Brownstone, it's a big R&B group.
oh, yes.
Um,
Oh, that was
yeah,
okay.
that's the mother to my son. And she's singing on that record. we were just
Oh,
started, yeah. And then she came back, and the record company was so excited about this record we've done. One of him gonna get him. She come in and I have this other one called Do for Love, and obviously she played me the original song. Bruce, I always forget his name.
yeah, yeah,
What do you want to do for love? Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And this is where it comes in.
Mm.
It's a long journey to get back here. But because Pac and I had really bonded over East Coast hip hop, and I was going to make an East Coast record for him because people didn't associate with that, but I knew Pac and very well, and he was very East Coast. I mean, the music he listened to was he grew up listening to like Big Daddy Kane and Marley Marl and Bismarckies and all the stuff I grew up with. So there was a remix of Far Side that Jay Dilla did, and I took a little horn thing that goes do 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 do. I loved it. I said, I'm gonna take that little part, and I love the snare and the sample, which we always, by the way, this was normal, like Premiere and all. We were all taking, someone had a dope snare, we'll make it our own, but and that's all there is from that record from Jay Dilla is the little horn and the snare. And I used that in this, and ever since it's like that's Jay Dilla who did this record or whatever. And in some way, when I hear that, I actually get honored because I never thought I was as good as Jay Dilla. So the fact they could think that beat was Jay Dilla, instead of taking it as like, no, it's me. I'm kind of like, man, that's amazing. I'll take that because, and I know that snare and that little horn was characteristic for him. So I don't want to take any away from those two sounds, but that's all that is from Jay Dilla on that record.
Yeah, I mean,
and it's become his own little momentum. Most important thing when I say the story is Jay Dilla is God. And the only reason why I took that was almost in some way paying respect to this East Coast record. It was kind of normal to do that. Like if I had to do something earlier, Marley Marl was the big one. It wouldn't be unusual for me to maybe use the impeach the president's kick a snare that he used so much. It's not unusual to do that in hip hop. But so that's a little story about the Jay Dilla thing and us doing Do for Love.
Well, I mean, I'm a good friends with Eric Williams, and so and he who sang the hook on it. So I love the record for that.
Thank you.
I didn't know anything about Jay Dilla, so I'm not a real hip hop person. It was only when I put out the fact that I'm going to interview you, and then a few people said, and commented about this, and I'm thinking, Oh, so I didn't know anything about it. So I thought it's only fair to ask just to bring it up to see.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
as I said, I didn't realize that there was a thing that you even heard about it, that people thought that you
Yeah,
because
I don't know, I mean, that's the worst part of the story. I don't want to come off as we took someone or
mm,
took someone's work and put our names on it. I mean, we've done
yeah, you've done tons
60
of stuff.
records,
Yeah, yeah.
so, in that incident, yeah, looking back, maybe I should not have taken that little horn. Maybe I should have not sampled that snare because that created confusion, and that's the last thing I wanted to do. I wanted Pac to have a little bit of a Tribe Called Quest, which was like my biggest inspiration
Mm,
of all. That's also why you hear when Karlin, my partner, comes in, he goes, "What are you hearing? What are we doing?" I go, "Tribe Called Quest." And he just goes, do, 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 do,
uh,
do, 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 do. I mean, that was because it was Tribe Called Quest. So it was natural for me because Dylan and Q-Tip were, they were the one creating the sound.
yeah.
But that's the confusion for this record, and I hope everybody who hears this knows that we are only honored to be in that
Yeah.
category. Jay Dilla for us is maybe the biggest hip hop producer ever.
Yeah, but I guess it's strange because, and I wonder if this has anything to do with being from Denmark and being white, that this is the issue because, my favorite producer is Teddy Riley, and
Oh, oh, oh my God! Can we just have a moment?
Go
I cannot tell you how many hours in the studio I've spent trying to get that goddamn Teddy Riley snare. He is, I mean, we're touching someone. We just talked Jay Dilla.
Yeah.
This is, you're going straight to if you ask who's your all time, Teddy Riley, by far, is my biggest inspiration.
Wow.
So sorry, I just needed a moment.
Did you know him when did you know about him when you were in Denmark about the whole New Jack and Keith Sweat and the Heavy D and the hip
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
Kumo D and
I knew him the first time I started hearing that sound. The first time I hear the sound of hip hop collaborating with R&B was Al B. Shore.
okay.
That's Kyle West, but Teddy's actually involved in that record too. He just
I've
didn't.
interviewed Carl West. Carl West, one of my good friends. I love Carl, and he talked about Teddy in the studio and us watching him and stuff. So yeah. So your first time
And I
you
don't know
heard
if
of
you
the
know,
yeah.
Teddy Riley also did Doggy Fresh the show. I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
even know that.
he was the whole the whole Inspector Gadget stuff
Yeah,
and the
yeah,
whole
yeah.
keeping the flow going.
So trust me, as soon as that, especially when Al B. Shore came out, I was on. I was on, and when Guy came out, it was over. But
Yeah.
all his remixes, everything I studied, we can talk about Teddy from now. I need to get a bottle of wine or something. We'll sit and
Yeah,
chat in front of the
you
fire
can go ahead and
because
do that.
I'm obsessed with Teddy Riley. I mean, he was the sound he created. It was so spectacular, and it was up in Harlem in his little
Yeah.
room up in Harlem, where his studio was. And what he did up there is insane, and he did much more than he even got credit for
Yeah.
because the story
Yeah,
with
the
his
story of
manager
Gene and
came
everything. Yeah.
took all the credit and all that stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
but
being in hip hop, then did you know about say Kumo D when he did go? I get the job done, even for Big Daddy Kane.
Go See
And
the Doctor
go
was
see
the
the
first one.
doctor. Yeah, I
Yeah,
work. He did the Heavy D and the
I know
Boys.
everything. I had everything, all that, everything. And that's why I'm still in Denmark. That was what's so amazing was if you were into hip hop in Denmark, especially when it wasn't popular to be breakdancing anymore, you were into it because there would be no other reason to be into this because it wasn't popular in that sense. So we were the ones who were into it. We knew everything,
Wow.
everything, and Teddy in particular. I
Yeah.
studied so much as a producer. I mean, just incredible. Let me just turn my phone off over here.
So,
Incredible. The amount of inspiration and Carlin, my keyboard guy. I'm the beat guy in our team. I cannot tell you. I mean, back then I made cassettes, after cassette. Go, you got to learn these chords. I don't know what he's doing every time. He got these in it that just sound different, his chords. And he goes, wow, they really expanded this chords. And I go, I don't know anything about that, but can we get that on our records? So we studied Teddy. like beyond. He's probably the ones we maybe Jay Dilla and Q-Tip or Tribe Called Quest and then Teddy Riley. Those are the two biggest for me and Karlin in everything we did.
Wow. I mean, one of my
I
favorite
think like really two big ones there.
yeah, one of my favorite albums is the Make It Last Forever Keep Sweat album, and the first song on it was Something Just Ain't Right, and it starts off with Teddy with the keyboards. It just starts with an intro of the keyboards before it goes into yeah.
And the way he plays, that's why my favorite parts on his records were Teddy's Jam.
Okay,
Teddy's
yeah,
Jam on the first Guy album
yeah,
and Teddy's Jam on the second is even
yeah,
better.
yeah, that, yeah,
We
yeah,
would listen to that over and over and over and over again. And then
yeah.
I just could not understand how he got those snares to pop like that. And it's not until recently we kind of found out he used the 909 drum machine. That was
Mm.
kind of like a house drum machine at that time. I don't know if you know, am I too nerdy now?
No, no, no,
But
no. You tell there's lots of people who listen to that and understand.
okay, and that snare has a really hard pop,
Yeah.
but it also has a very distinctive sound. So if you
Mm.
use just that snare, you will sound like all the other records who use that snare. But Teddy used that snare underneath his breakbeat snares. So if he would sample whatever funky drama, or he loved God Make It Funky, that snare, he would always sample it, but he would have the 909 underneath, and that's what gave it that whip.
Mm.
And then it was a board called SSL that everybody probably knows if they're
Yeah.
working in the music industry, but the SSL compressor, when you take that combination of an 899 and a breakbeat stand, you put that through a compressor, and you get that. And he always flammed the beat. He'll have a clap in front of it a little bit, so it would flam a little bit. Don't get me started.
No, no, no,
I
no.
studied him so much.
No, no, because as a
He's such
fan,
an inspiration.
yeah, as a fan, that I could always tell his drums or
Oh,
his keys
yes.
and everything there.
Absolutely, yes.
But to think that he did this, so you think about your upbringing in Denmark in a rural family where he was in a projects, had no money, had a small Casio keyboard and but had all that talent and then learning how to do this in the studio. That just shows you that actually when there's talent, it doesn't matter where you're from. It's just in
Oh,
you.
so true. But we used that. Eric B. and McKim had that line. Uh, it's not where you're from, it's where you're
Yeah,
at.
eight when you're from
That
where
became
you
our kind of mecca for us Danes, because we were really outsiders, like, when we showed up, and as I said, in today's culture, it's normal, but that back then, and then we came with an accent and wearing shorts, flower shorts, like we looked, I mean, I can't tell you how many times we went into the studio and people were like, I remember we had a session with Patti LaBelle. This is kind of early on, and we were starting to buzz a little bit because Latifah had us produce a record, 4 songs on her second album, especially with a song called Fly Girl that got
Okay.
nominated for a Grammy and stuff like that. And we were
Yeah.
like, oh my God, we barely knew what we were doing. And know so much to Latifah. So we started getting some, remix jobs, and we made a lot of remix, soul power remixes of Chill Rob G's and Jungle Brothers. So we're buzzing a little bit, and I guess Patti LaBelle wanted to get that sound. I think
Mm.
our first big remix was Toni Braxton. I Belong to You, I think it's called. We did like a kind of roller skate mix, we call it, but we actually sampled the beat from Gap Band, Outstanding.
Okay.
That's the beat underneath. And we had the claps and everything. Probably shouldn't have said that now. I probably get sued now. But anyways, so I remember we showed up, and I'm sitting in the room, and Patti LaBelle walks in with her entourage, hairdressers, and she's like, "Can you get me this and this and that? I need this, and also I need some this and that kind of tea. And if you don't have that tea, you need to go get that tea. We need it before Soulshock shows up."
Oh, did you?
And I just got up and I said, "Okay, I'll go get it." And then my assistant said to her, that's Soulshock. And we went through that so many times in the beginning of our career. And it really wasn't until Tupac, when Tupac took us under his wings and we started having big records with him. If you work with Tupac, it didn't matter if you're from Mars or where you're from. We got the stamp. So after Tupac, it was kind of like, okay. I don't think people really still knew we were white, but you are the guy. Yeah, Tupac, right? Yeah, okay, good. You just want to make sure, you know.
Oh goodness.
So
Oh, I didn't realize she
yeah,
sent you to go get the stuff because she just assumed you were the engineer. So
yeah, totally. She was like, "There's no way that that's like no way that that's Soulshock. Just no way."
oh goodness. I mean, how did you guys do? I mean, you said you got into your DJ stuff. Now with your parents being academics, were you still going to school, secondary school and university while doing the DJ stuff, or did you? Oh, what? Oh,
So, and it was a ongoing battle because I just was burning so much for this music, and my dad really wanted me to have some kind of
back up.
academic,
Yeah.
education backup plan. There you go.
Yeah.
I hear myself actually saying a little bit like I say that to my son now. And he's like, Dad, please. uh, but we made a deal and I said, okay, I'll do business school. So I did 3 years of business school, barely making it because I was practicing and I was in, championships, and I flew to New Music Seminar, was another very, very famous DJ kind of competition where also rappers were. And that's actually where Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince first gets discovered.
Wow.
And unfortunately, I was up, Jazzy Jeff was there. And yeah, I mean, I was good, but I'm not Jazzy Jeff. He's another
Oh, so
legend.
you were in the same competition with
Yeah,
Jazzy.
and that's battle that you get one time and that's it. You got to show what you got. It's a knockout round.
And I heard from
But one
Jazzy in an
minute,
interview that he really was ready to
he
battle.
yes, he was unbelievable because we didn't know anything about transform scratch. We could do a lot of stuff, but when he did, I'm like, wait, am I going out next? Because if I'm going off after that, I have no secrets. I have no secret weapons to beat that. That's just insane. We could do all the fast scratching, but that transform scratch, and I actually think it's Cash Money maybe did it the first time. But Jazzy Jeff, he went to that competition and bam, we were like, okay, we're going back to Denmark. Then we're done. Not a
Wow.
chance. Yeah, he was insane good to scratching. He was insane good, Jazzy Jeff.
Wow.
So,
How
but
soon?
so I did that and I
Yeah.
finished my business school and as I said, my first try going into the music industry was New York. And we had done a record in Denmark called Break the Limits. And because we were so good friends with Red Alert and became so good friends with MC Light and Audio 2 and their dad, Nat Robinson, he actually put that song, Break the Limits, on his label, which was, they had like a whole album with all their big hits. And he put our song. It was crazy, because we're from Denmark.
Yeah.
So I had a good moment, but I have to say New York was rough for me because straight from Denmark to New York, it was just, and it was aggressive,
Yeah.
because it was a really hello from the ghettos. Like no one wants to listen to us, no one's paying attention. The police doesn't even come into the ghettos when there's issues in the
Wow.
ghettos. Where are they gonna get? Who are they gonna talk to? And rap in some way started becoming very or more political in some way. Public
Yeah.
Enemy started on the stage and stuff like that too. So it was just intense. And then on top of that, you had the baddest motherfuckers in the world. So you got Premier, Molly Mal, Teddy Riley's coming up. It's just like, wait, like, how are we gonna get through? And that Patti LaBelle session I was talking about, where she sent me out in the kitchen, was in LA. And once I came to LA, like palm trees, sunshine, no one shooting, at least not right here. And more importantly, they had one bad motherfucker. They had Dr. Dre out here.
Okay.
But besides that, I kind of felt we could compete with many of the other ones.
Okay. Okay.
That's why we settled in LA.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've heard a lot of those who I've interviewed from New York. from the East Coast, and they talk about how rough it is in the East Coast, from Philadelphia to New York. There's no hiding. So those who have grown up there talk about how rough it is, whether it's in the Bronx or things like that. They're just coming out of the epidemic. They're dealing with
Beyond.
so much things out there. So the thought that I can't imagine what your English was like. If you're British, I could
Oh,
understand
it's
Dane. I mean, I don't know the
super,
accent.
super heavy accent back then. And like a little white boy with blonde. I mean, you should see some pictures of me. You'll be like, how did you get shot?
Yeah.
And but I also loved it though, because I must say, as much as I felt it was scary, I also loved it. It was, I had studied all these, record sleeves and
Yeah, yeah.
looking at all the pictures.
The credits
I'm
and
not
everything.
in it. Not only that, my name is on some of these. It was so exciting for me, and I didn't care about money and I just wanted to be part of the hip hop culture. So as much as this was rough, it was also amazing. I mean, had some amazing moments. I was spinning at a club called Club Mars. It was a very famous hip hop club in the Meatpacking district when it was rough, not the fancy one you see now in New York. You don't really see any of that stuff that we saw back then. It was great.
Wow.
42nd Street was crazy back
Wow.
then. Crazy. Hell's Kitchen was Hell's Kitchen. That's the best way to describe it. But anyways, I remember a night Q-Tip came straight from the vinyl pressing and came up to me and go, oh my God, first Tribe Called Quest record. You gonna play it? And I go, of course I'm gonna play it. So I played
So you know Q-Tip?
Cool. Yeah, because he was part of Red Alert and everything too. So Q-Tip gave me the pressing at Mars, and I played Definition on a Fool for the first time. So I had amazing experiences too, meeting all these people. I met JC before he was JC. He was still JC, but driving around in a Mercedes with stickers in his car promoting himself. So it was incredible, but it was rough. It was rough. And then times maybe 2 or 3, because we were little white boys. We were really careful. I mean, we really had to be careful, not overstepping our boundaries. And we had to be fucking good, like really good to compete, So we had to practice so much, study so much, learn. Also, we got into R&B music. We had to study church gospel music, because a lot of the vocals are very inspired by that. We need to learn all the runs and all the stuff. So, we studied everything and were very humble, but also competitive. You have to be hip hop culture. That's kind of part of it. If someone said to me, I'll be like, well, let's get on the fucking turntables then. Let's see what you got. You had to have a little bit of that hip hop attitude as well, or else you just get rolled over. But I did find coming to LA a lot easier.
So before you get to LA, were you so because what is strange to hear is that if Latifah and Jungle Brothers are going on tour around Europe, you would always assume that they needed their own DJ, because if a DJ messes up, it's on them. So why would they trust?
Hey. I was third in the world.
Okay.
They had the DJ.
But didn't they have their own DJ back? Could they not travel out?
I became her DJ. So Latifah, we did shows in America too. That wasn't just in Europe. Yeah.
Oh,
so Latifah,
did she have a DJ before they came to Europe?
She just had, Mark the 45 King, but he wasn't, DJ in that sense. By the way, he passed away recently, so R.I.P. to him. He did the 900 number, stuff like that. I assume you know who that is. He's a legend too. And he was more producer DJ. He couldn't do all the scratching and stuff like that.
Okay.
You actually had to be really fucking good, because you were right. When I took the way we performed with Latifah and Trilogy, it's me extending the beats. And she goes, I want to do a breakdown, like when we do funky drummer. And she's rapping. If I mess up,
that's what I'm thinking.
Shows messed up. So the reason why they picked so good DJs, it was because technical, we were a band. And we had to be uber good. So I think in the way what Red Alert saw, if this guy can stand on his head and roaming around and do cutback, whatever, he can definitely hold the beat, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, there was some nights where I had to DJ for Jungle Bus too, with Sammy B sometimes, you know, if he was sick or something like that. So I had a couple of nights where I was DJing for Jungle Bus. And yes, I looked like I was the coolest guy in the world. I was pissing in my pants. I mean, fuck, I need to make, are you kidding me? That I better get that over there again. And that needle better not skip because they are rapping right now. Oh, and here's a drop. And I got to get in again. Okay. You know, so it was really intense on us DJs. You know, now you see the DJ more who maybe do some live scratching, but it's all recorded on Pro Tools or that tapes, CDs came out. But back then, we were on vinyl records, and sometimes we wouldn't even have an instrumental version. So we would have to make our own instrumental of some of the, you know, Wrath of My Madness. We didn't have an instrumental of it. That was Latifah. So I had to cut the beat. I had to extend the intro so she could rap. What else she would be rapping on herself?
Well, maybe that's why you guys make real good producers, like, you know, because that sense of being able to, the creativity and the innovation that you've
And then also when you're in a club, like for example, when I was spinning at Mars and I had the hip hop room, and I got 600-700 hardcore b-boys from New York in front of me. Let me tell you, we better know what we're doing.
Yeah.
And that helped me too, reading the floor. And I think that's another thing DJs, I think, are good at. We've been at clubs where a record doesn't work. And, you know what? That doesn't work because the bass, the 808 sounds like it's like, I mean, there's no bottom in it, man. How am I going to play this record? It might be a dope record, but whoever mixed this record, I can't go from pump that bass to this because it sounds so thin. And, you know, I'm not going to mention who that was. But they had records that sounded very thin. So you also learn, oh, that intro really works. People want to hear that one more time. Okay, let me just drop it so it's twice instead of only one time. So I'm reproducing in some way the original record.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's really where producing came in, was also working and knowing these rooms in front of you and learn how what you could do to a record to make it work. So when we did started doing our stuff, you know, hopefully people notice we got beats. We had hip hop beats, you know, on our song with Monica before we org our life, you know, when that beat drops in, you know, that was one of our big ones. That was typical us. We would be like, oh, it's a little pretty song, and then
yeah. No, before we get into the tracks and stuff, I guess, how did you meet Karlin then? Did you meet him in Denmark?
Yes. So, you know, when I came back from New York, EMI.
This is after the shooting. This is after the shooting.
This is after the shooting. Yeah, I'm back home with mom.
Okay.
I'm like, fuck this shit. I can't do this.
Okay.
Then we had already got so much buzz, and you know, we were in the press in Denmark because we were Grammy nominated for Queen Latifah, and Denmark was like, "What?
Wow,
that's the rapper from New York, yeah. What are those two from Aalborg and Holbæk doing with Latifah in New York?" So we got offered a record label by this guy called Michael Ritto, who became head of EMI Records in Scandinavia, because now the Danish artists wanted that hip hop sound. And so we started remixing all these rock bands who had been laughing at us. And we started putting, and Soul to Soul had just came out. Okay, we'll put that beat on, because that beat is really originally from Bismarcky, Big Boopers, you know, that the jazz just sampled. But hey, it was genius what he did, because that became a whole new trend. And then we spent 2 years, and we did some Danish bands with this band called Cut and Move that got signed in America, whatever. But after we had tremendous success doing all these Danish acts, but I had been in New York. And once you're in New York,
you beat it to the Mecca, the
that's
Holy
it.
Grail.
It's like when you what did you guys, when you tasted, what is that, Nando's?
Yeah,
that chicken place you have?
Yeah, Nando's, yeah.
You can't go to someone called Nundo's, you know, no, I want Nando's.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
So that was what it was. So I remember after 2 years, I just said we got to go back, and we were originally it was Soulshock Karlin. The original team was Cutfire and Soulshock, and then we went to America, and it was so rough. I mean, even LA wasn't rough in the sense we got shot at or anything like that, but it was impossible to get our tracks out into the A&R system. You know, even though we'd done the Tifa and Jonah Bros, you know, all the really heavy executives is still like cool. You know, we couldn't get a meeting with the assistant to the A&R person.
Wow.
You know, so cut by after 6 months goes, I'm going back home. And I just felt we're better. We're better. I hear the music coming out. I'm telling you, Colin, right now. We're better. You know, we're not better than Jimmy Dam Terry Lewis or LA and Babyface or Teddy Riley, but we're better than, and I'm not going to mention
you got some
many other ones. And I just said, if you, because he wanted to go home too, and I said, I promise you, in 6 months we're going to have a top 10 record. If you stay with me, and we did.
Just before I asked what the record was, but what about the opportunity you had back at home? Because 100%, who apart from Brian Abrams from Call Me Bad, every other of my guests have been black, and they've talked about bad record deals and how they got shafted and stuff like this. Here you are telling me that EMI says, "Hey, here's a record deal, so we're gonna bring you partners," and so then all of a sudden it means that you have a different understanding about the industry, about contracts from a very different from an early stage. So that did you understand the opportunity you have was not given to anyone? I mean, only
First of all, what an amazing thing for you to catch on what you just said, because that's actually incredible. Because you were so right. I knew nothing about anything except scratching, and I think you know what we had accomplished. Denmark is a very small country. It's only 6 million people. You got two guys who was nominated for a Grammy for Queen Latifah. That's on your main nightly news.
Wow.
We interviewed, yeah. So, and plus hip hop music, even everybody said it was going to die and go away. No, it grew and grew and grew. And Europe made their own little funny versions, Snap or whatever they were called. Like hip hop, and you know, and Mantronic, Curtis Mantronic. You have to pay some respect for him too.
I had
a lot of that stuff. Came to England, you know, Derek B.
Yes. Yeah, we had Nina Cherry. You had a number of people doing
Nina Cherry, Buffalo Stance. As a matter of fact, the record I did in Denmark, the rapper was Nina Cherry's little brother, CPU. So it was coming in Denmark, soul to soul, whatever. So, and there were no one else than us in Denmark that had put out records. I mean, you put out records in New York.
Yeah.
So we were kind of like, whoa. So everybody was trying to get us to make these beats for them because that was the ultimate in Denmark. So it wasn't so unusual for us to get that in Denmark because there was no one else doing it. Where I can understand New York, I could, if you take artists and stuff like that, blah, blah. But the point I'm really impressed that you picked up on was, yes, this was an amazing opportunity for me to learn the business. And I was so green. I remember the first act we signed was this girl, Yasmin, and we actually ended up signing her to Geffen Records in America, and CJ McIntosh actually from your country did a remix of that. Because CJ McIntosh, I remember he was also around DJing, you know, and he was also in those competitions. I don't know if you remember him. But then I remember having a meeting and we're talking, and the artist goes, or the artist manager goes, "Look, I'm like the head label head, okay? I'm sitting with a cap on and, you know, Public Enemy t-shirt or something." And he's like, "What about publishing?" I said, "Let me just, I'll get right back to you. Just give me 1 second. I just got to take this phone call." And I ran down to Michael Ritter, who was head of the company, who was signed us, who was giving us this record, and goes, "What's publishing?" And he goes, "Just say yes, we take that too." So I knew nothing. So those 2-3 years running a label were actually amazing. It really gave me a lot coming to America, getting into the business. I wouldn't say I knew everything, but I had a big understanding of royalties,
Yeah.
copyrights, publishing shares. And as a producer, you get your mechanical royalties and you get
Yeah.
your royalties from producing. All that stuff I knew when I came back to LA. I almost feel in some sense going back home from New York to Denmark was like, let me first of all recover from what
Yeah.
happened and maybe learn a little more, go a little more in the studios because we were in the studio every day with a bunch of Danish acts and we couldn't care less what they were talking sing about as long as we had a beat. I remember at one point we had a sample of a Big Payback, James Brown,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
and we just that's going on the song, and the guy who was the producer or the band member goes, "Well, we're not in that key. That's a major. No, that's a minor. We're in major." And I go, "Change the song. We need to get that guitar on." We were just brutal. We wanted hip hop. We didn't, we just. It wasn't even about the songs, but that snuck up on us too, and that's coming later. We'll get to that part,
Yeah.
but then, as I said, then I just didn't. When you taste the Nando's,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
gotta have
Yeah.
Nando's.
Yeah. Well, so I mean that's really good that you actually had that opportunity to learn all that stuff because you can have the fame, but without the fortune, it's almost pointless.
Yeah.
Jodeci, when I interviewed them, they were like,
Oh,
we were selling all these records, but we realized we weren't making any money and we didn't understand the business side. And their parents who were
well, their label
releasing,
was also called Bad Boy,
yeah, that's the thing. Because you make
and
it,
Bad Boy had a label deal with Uptown. So they probably got. I can't even imagine how little they probably got. Actually, I feel so bad. By the
yeah.
way, what an amazing group, Devante Swing. Let's not sleep on him.
No, no. I think people forget how much he changed the industry with R&B, with his keyboard, his sort of his writing. I mean, they wrote "Forever My Lady" when they were 14 or so. He was just writing songs for just for the sake of it. But yeah, as a producer, he's
Well, I can tell you as a producer, if you listen to our song with Toni Braxton, "I Love You Some Him,"
love me
you
so
should go
him.
back
Yeah.
and listen after this. Boom, shak. I'm doing a reverse snare to the snare. Where did I get that from? Jodeci. Devante always had a reverse snare before the snare hit. So it'd be boom, shak, boom, shak. And that was the snare being reversed going and on I Love Me Some Him. I was like, we're going Jodeci on the snare on that one.
Wow.
So he is another huge inspiration. And Jodeci, I mean, when they came in records, it was Tell Me. No, that's not even them. That was actually the another group.
Drew Hill. Yeah.
That was Drew Hill. Yeah. But Jodeci had so many records that was insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was just and they were so bad boy-ish.
Yeah.
So that rap look and attitude to R&B. And I think that was Puffy's brilliance. He is kind of the one who really took rap and R&B. You could barely see what was rap and what was, R&B at one point. It was just all mixed together.
Yeah. Yeah, he did have a massive influence on and I think that was what Uptown they first came out with the New Jack Swing with the hip hop with not just Guy but Heavy D and the Boys and Father MC doing the New Jack Swing. Then they did the hip hop
Teddy
soul.
produced. Remember Teddy producing Heavy D? How crazy was that?
Yeah, that first
How
album.
we found love. My God, Heavy, all those
Yeah,
records.
yeah. As I said, it, and I think the whole Uptown, the whole introduction into, as I said, hip hop soul. So Teddy did the New Jack Swing, and then they took the hip hop soul. It was like, okay, let's do hip hop with the soul on it and the combination. So they took it to another level. Um,
They really did.
yes, yeah. But when we should focus on you, so,
So every time you bring up something, you can hear I'm a fan too. I'm
yeah,
not just a producer. I've been a fan of hip hop and R&B ever since I was 13, 12.
but and I think it's good that people see that because it's important that they understand because as I said, those people who might think, oh, he's just coming in and taking our stuff, to understand that actually you in Denmark are listening and DJing I don't think many people would then realize that you actually DJ for Latifah. So you've gone seal of approval from hip hop
Probably not.
legends. People won't realize
Yeah.
that. They will just think so. It's important to hear all of this, and but also the fact that you go to LA. Why didn't you guys go back to New? Did you go to did you go to New York first, then
Well,
LA, or?
we went straight to LA. I was like, we're not going to New York. I can't do that. And
Now, what
then
year
at
was
that
that?
point,
Yeah.
Puffy, that's 19, we arrived in LA in 1993.
Okay, so 93 is when I moved I was in Alabama, so I moved to the States in 93 as well. So
Oh,
that was
wow.
yeah, so that was 93 when I moved to LA, moved to the US to Alabama. So I think the we had SWV just with their coming out with their type of music. We had
Oh, yes, did we?
yeah,
Boy, did we.
we I think we were getting yeah, so I mean New York hip hop was
We definitely had Jodeci. Jodeci too I mean, Puffy definitely was. I think Biggie might have started around 93,
so yeah, so in
maybe.
93, he came out with Flavor in the Year and the Biggie stuff in 94. That 93,
Yeah, there you go.
yeah, so that 93, we were
Yeah.
just we
And
had
that's what I meant. Now in New York, you had them as well.
yeah
You know what I mean? Like, there it just seemed like every competition was in New York. And that what that meant was it was hard to get meetings with the record companies because we would be way down the list. I mean, if you got like, all the producers who are currently making records in New York, and that was a closed scene,
yeah
they're gonna be ahead of us. So it was just hard for us to get in. And we also I think we needed a little bit the peace, honestly. I mean, New York is really hectic, man. You go down the street and it's like, and you go into the studios, everybody is just going crazy in the studios. I remember when we always flew to New York and made records, I remember a session we did with Silk, did a song called Hooked on You.
Mm.
And every room next to us, it was, I mean, Busta Rhymes was coming in
Was
and
that the Hit
this,
Factory or what was this?
yeah, it was.
Okay. Yeah, and I can imagine because everyone I talked to who worked out of the Hit Factory, it's either even Teddy talks about, Q-Tip having a room and he needed
Oh
a
yeah,
room for Michael Jackson, and
totally,
Puffy pretty much took over half the
totally.
place. So I can imagine how congested it would be just to try and get you
To get into the studio.
to get into a
Yeah,
studio to
that's
hook. Okay. And I think LA
yeah.
would have been, yeah, it didn't seem as if much was happening in LA recording wise. I mean,
Really had Dre, NWA, and of course, Warren G and whatever. But it was more a South Central, West Coast hip hop scene that had that. When it came to like the whole R&B hip hop scene,
yeah.
we felt we were going to take over. Honestly, we felt very confident in it, like just with the people that were there, and we did very fast, but we needed to learn one more thing before we could go there. That's what we're talking about, songs. But I don't know if you want me to go into that, or if you want
Yeah,
to
go
quick.
ahead. Yeah.
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 But when we came here, we started like writing songs, but I was obsessed with the beats. It was all about the beats, man. And Karlin was doing his keys, and then there's someone singing. Oh yeah, cool. We're just making beats here. You could just sing whatever you want to do, kind of thing. And I remember we knew if we want to get into the ultimate level, we needed a meeting with Clive Davis.
The Godfather.
So we worked on it, and we worked on it, and we worked on it, and we finally got a meeting with Clive Davis. And my first meeting with Clive Davis was at the Peninsula Hotel here in LA, because he would come out here all the time. And again, when he was in LA, there was less people to see. I mean,
Mm.
Puffy would still be here and whatever. And when Clive was in town, everybody would just kind of like get together around Clive. But I remember coming in and meeting him for the first time, and we played 3 songs. And I'm like, man, he's listening to every song all the way through. We're in. And when he was done, he looked at me, he goes, that is possible. The 3 worst songs anyone has ever played me.
Wow.
And I looked over at Colin, and he goes, thank you. You can leave now. And we
Wow.
got up, and his assistant, who was Keith Naffy at that time, said to us before we walked out of the door, he goes, Clive wants to see you next month. I go, what? So we walk downstairs and we go in the studio again. I'm like, okay, I think we need to think a little more about what's on top of the tracks.
Okay.
Because in rap, it was kind of like you just follow the rapper. You know, you didn't really,
Okay,
yeah, they
hip-hop
would just spit,
producers.
and then the hook would just be like, nothing what you said. You do little sample, and So we did 3 more songs, and we had another meeting. This was the Peninsula Hotel also, and we come in again, and it was kind of weird because David Foster and Ella and Babyface they walked out and stuff, and I'm like, oh my fucking god. And so we played 3 songs. We played all the way through, but now I'm like worried, but I'm like, okay. And he goes, what's really fascinating? So I go, no. How is it possible to come with 3 songs that are worse than the fucking? And I'm like, this motherfucker.
Wow.
And I walked out, and Keith Nairn goes, Clive wants to see you again next month. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here, man? What is going on here? So we went down. I think this is where, make or break it kind of thing. He was pushing us. And before he left, he said, let me play you what I'm looking for. And we'll play a Teddy Riley song, Ella and Baby's song, especially Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis, and Ella and Babyface. Their songs. Amazing. And he did say, if you really want someone to listen to your beats, make a good song. Then everybody's going to hear your beats. So he did plant some seeds in us. And at that time, I started dating Maxie, from Brownstone. And we had just been in the studio with them, and I just saw her, and we just fell in love and became like, we were just soulmates from the moment we saw each other. And we went, I had a little house, and Maxie was kind of living with me, and we had this songwriter coming up called Andrea Martin.
Oh,
and Maxie was from Guyana, and Andrea was also from Guyana. So, or some of her family members were, I think. And so Maxie was cooking Guyanese food, and totally different vibe than we normally would do in a session. And Andrea's like doing, and Karlin is sitting up there. He always had these, he would listen to all these like JoJo and all these bands. I was like, what are you listening to? But actually, he starts playing these chords, and he does some changes that are unusual for an R&B record. And they write this song. We go to Clive, and now he's at the Belvedere Hotel, always a Bungalow 8. I'm sure you heard that from other people. That was mega. And when we came there, Prince walked out, casually. Oh, hello, Prince. Again, maybe we're just not meant to be here. Like, this is too high level. Like, we go in and we press play, and he stops after the first song. We had 3 songs again, and he goes, 1 second. And he goes, Roy Lott, I need you to go in the room with Soulshock and Karlin's manager. We're buying this record right now on the spot. And they're not leaving until they sign the contract. And I'm like, what? And that was before he walked out of my life. And he said, I have a new artist called Monica, and I want her to do this song. And he goes, and if you just listen to me, you're going to have your first #1. And we did. But the story is not quite over yet, because we walk out of that bungalow, and guess who's calling? L.A. Reid. He goes, love this record. We want Toni Braxton to record it. I'm like, fuck yeah. Who cares? Monica. Who knows? No one knows who Monica is. So I'm like, yeah, we in. So I go to the studio the next day, and I was at the studio called Skip Saylor. It's like a hip-hop studio in LA. And Skip Saylor, the owner of the studio, comes running into my room, and he goes, fucking Clive Davis is on the phone for you. And I go, how does he know I'm here? And Skip goes, how does he know me? I'm my recording studio. But you should run. So I run out, and I pick up the phone, and he goes, this is Clive Davis. I go, yeah. He goes, you will record before you walk out my life with me. And you know why? I go, no, because I'm fucking Clive Davis, and you won't work in this industry if you don't. We did Monica.
But L.A. Reid was signed to Clive. You couldn't.
No, they actually hadn't. They were messing around with each other, but they hadn't done that official merge. But
LaFace?
that's yeah. LaFace was still in Atlanta. This is very early on. We did. This is when Toni Braxton did still live. They might have had a label deal, but they weren't
Yeah.
like Aris
No,
LaFace.
no, they weren't the Irish said no, so,
Yeah.
but they were this. So Clive gave them their deal.
Distribution maybe or
Yeah,
something
he
like that.
gave
It was
them
kind
that.
of
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. It was definitely still competition between LA and Clive
yeah.
for song. And it
Although,
happens again later. Yeah.
yeah,
So
although LA
but
would tell you that because especially when the Toni Braxton said she wanted money, they did say, look, Clive gives us the money and we put out the artist. So I'm still, did LA know that Clive wanted the record? Because I
yeah.
can't imagine he would have asked you for it if he knew that Clive wanted it.
Well, he didn't know it because it was
Yeah.
right after we had just stepped out.
Yeah, if he know, I don't
But
think
let
he
me
knew.
tell you one thing.
Yeah.
LA called me afterwards, was furious at me for not giving me the record to Tony Braxton.
Even when you
And
told him that Clive asked for it first?
well, I said, well, I said Clive wants it. He goes, I want it for Tony. I don't care.
Oh,
So they still had, the face
but
was still 50% their company.
yeah.
They were not necessarily budging. And LA didn't talk to me for like a year and a half. And then next time it happens, it's Heartbreak Hotel that he wants for TLC and Clive wants for Whitney, and Clive wins again. So me and LA, yeah, we're very good friends today. Don't worry.
Okay. No, no. But then, I mean, what was different about how you came up with that track then?
So that's what Karlin. That's kind of a little more classic R&B, but then he starts doing these changes, leading chords going up to the hook, which was very more something you would hear in the total world and that
Mm-hmm.
kind of world. And then I came in with the beat in the second verse. It's so hip hop. It's from this old break beat with static on it. It's so dirty. And I think I'm scratching It's Yours with Tila Rock. It's somewhere in the background too. It's so hip hop on top of these chords. And then let's not forget Andrea Martin.
Oh, she wrote the lyrics.
She wrote the song, the lyrics, yeah. And I think the whole vibe also with Maxine
Maxine.
cooking food. And I learned a little bit in that session. Okay, if we just sit with our headphones on and just one of our beats, we won't make those records. We got to put our focus on the writer
Mm.
and the song. And we really learned that from Clive Davis. That was really where it clicked for us that, yeah, pay as much attention still to your track. But when you're in with a songwriter, they deserve all attention and deserve all our focus. And that's the only way to write a good record. And Babyface is the master of that. He'll just sit right on a keyboard before he barely put a drum on.
Mm.
So that was our learning experience, was that, hey, it's still the song. Yes, that's a dope beat. Hallelujah. But the songs that we really get attached to in our life is really those songs that are special. And that's
Yeah.
the song. That's the lyrics.
The lyrics.
Yeah.
It,
So we had, and being Danish, it wasn't that easy just to,
the English language, yeah.
yeah, it wasn't our main language,
Yeah.
So, and there was a lot of stuff we had to learn, we really had to learn that. That's when I think after that record we start just going, okay, we got it now. We understand the attention we have to pay to the songs on top of our beats.
Can you talk about we lost Sandra Martin recently, but I don't think.
Give me a glass of water. Yeah.
But
Sorry.
we lost Sandra Martin recently, but I don't think she got the credit that she deserves as a songwriter, because she wasn't in front of the cameras like say a Missy or
Right.
Diane Warren.
Yeah.
And you're talking about knowing her as as almost like a family member, the way you
Yeah.
described that session. What was she
Yes.
like? So for people who don't know her, who maybe know some of her songs, but what was she like?
Absolutely 100% one of the most talented songwriters we've ever worked with, and singers. In
Mm.
case you don't know, she's the one singing on that house record, Show Me.
Yeah.
That, Robin S. There is no Robin S. That's Andrea singing that song. Yes. I didn't know it either until recently.
Yeah.
But definitely find out when you hear it now, you know it's Andrea. And Andrea didn't even, she was so sweet, she was so humble. And she just let that happen. Like they take her demo vocals, put out a record called Robin S. and have someone strange
Milli
girl came
Vanilli,
in.
whole Milli Vanilli stuff.
Yes, it is before Milli Vanilli. I think no, maybe after. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, that's Andrew singing, and all many of our big songs. I love me some him, Toni Braxton. That's Andrew as well.
Oh. So then
She
how did the working relationship happen? And would you have would she then write something, or would Carlin and you play something and she would write on top of it, or how did it
oh no
then
no
work?
she would just come in, and it was always chaos, and it was just beautiful. But we had now learned to really pay attention to them when they walk in and treat every person that walks into the studio as the most important person when you walk in. So
Mhm.
you don't just sit in the corner and do a beat, whatever. So we just started having fun. And one thing with me and Colin, we really have this sarcastic European humor that they don't necessarily get in America.
Yeah, yeah.
Many times, some engineer would have the hi-hat really loud, and Colin would be like, should turn up the hi-hat a little bit. And then he'll turn it up. And we'll be like, no, 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 okay. So but Andrea had our humor too. So we just had so much fun. And most of the times it would be Colin sitting with some chords,
Mm,
a little bit like bass, and her humming, or I would have put some beats on, so it was more like a track already, and we
mm.
would just play 3, 4, 5 tracks, and she would just go, "That's it," and she would just go in, and she would just write the song on the spot, like
Wow.
in the room, like while she's figuring out the melody, she's writing the lyrics, and I love me some him. Who just sit there going, what is going on? Like, she was so incredible. One of the most amazing
Wow.
talent songwriters. Clyde Davis did sign her, and he did try to put her out as a solo artist.
Mm.
I don't know if there is an Andrea Martin
There wasn't
CD.
out, yeah, there wasn't out,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, but it didn't,
And then
yeah,
maybe she was a songwriter. That's okay too. Maybe she
yeah,
was not an artist. It's not necessary just because you write good songs that you're an artist. We see
mm,
examples of that all the time. Sometimes
mm,
it is, but a
yeah,
lot of times it's not. Sean Garrett, amazing songwriter. His solo career didn't necessary, but then you see sometimes a Neo. Okay,
yeah,
that worked. What makes the difference?
you just know no.
Many things
Yeah.
comes into, yeah.
So, but then did you and Colin then start to write the lyrics as well? Then how did you then start to get more comfortable writing the lyrics and feeling more comfortable with what you were writing and producing?
We started like paying attention to having concepts. And it
Oh,
sounds a little boring, but we realized if there wasn't a concept, then it would be hard to get people to remember that record, because
mm,
even though it would be a bunch of beautiful words, if there wasn't a story or concept where that line ties it all together,
mm,
then it's hard to get that impact. So we would always give all the top liners all the freedom in the world. We would never go in and nitpick in the process, because we really believe in, it's like a painting. When you paint, if you go in and say, I don't like it, and the guy goes, well, that red you don't like is actually going to be green. I'm about to put
mm,
blue. Like, so you've got to kind of let them go through the process. And Harold Lilly, who's one of my really good friends, and one of my just mentors in this business too. He wrote all the stuff on keys and stuff like that. And he always says, trust the process,
mm.
which is just let them do that part. Even though maybe you can hear something, let them, you don't know. And then when you're done, you go, you know what? I think, we need to come up with a line that's kind of like that punchline that,
Yeah, yeah.
end of the hook, you say that line and kind of go, whoa,
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
about a girl. It's not even about a guy, or something like that. You know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's the way we have done it more. I would say Karlin, like for example, Heartbreak Hotel got really involved in lyrics. But really our main thing was to give them space. And then once we were going there, we were going now melodies we got very involved in. And that's, I think, being Scandinavian, why are there so many good Scandinavian pop producers? You have Max Martins and
Mark
all these
Martin. Yeah, yeah,
Dennis
yeah.
Pops. And I think one of the reasons is when we grow up, our first time we get attached to a song, we don't know what they're saying.
Yeah.
We're 6, 7 years old, but we like the melody.
Yeah, yeah.
So most can,
You've
I don't know,
got
we
Ace of Base, ABBA, you've got
Stargate,
Stargate, yeah. Oh, I love Stargate,
good
yeah.
friends of ours. Yeah, they're so sweet. Yeah. And they're so thankful for us. They feel we paved the way. They're always, when they meet us, they're like, you're the reason why we even dare coming over to America.
Wow.
So we have a great relationship. Yeah. But it's because so melodies is another thing we go really hard melodies.
Mm.
Really hard melodies. So I think it's a combination of things, but always respect in the studio, and it's not never ego, and no one is necessarily right. We just open doors, and trust me, when something is the best, we all know. It's
Yeah.
pretty simple, but always open different doors to see what's in each room. You want to try to rap there? Sounds like a horrible idea, but let's try it. You know what I mean? Well, why not? We'll spend half an hour and then we'll confirm, okay, there's not supposed to be a rap there. You know what I mean? So I think that's one of the things we've also learned, that, really kind of being in the studio, writing a song is also, you're a therapist. I sometimes feel like a therapist in the studio,
Yeah.
it's part of it's a big, and a lot of the new producers coming up skip this part.
Mm.
They're just on, because now it's all online and
Yeah.
computers. And when they go into the room, they just sit there like they do at home. And it's like, if you don't pay attention to that singer right there, you're not going to get a good song.
And it's good that you say this because when I interviewed Bob Robinson from Tim and Bob, he said something that Jimmy and Jam and Terry Lewis did, and this is when they say they're working with Tamir. They said, look, what's going on? What do you want to? Let's be part of this. Give us some ideas of what you've been up to, and then we can build something from this, so that you feel some ownership
Great.
in this, so we know what's going on with
Oh,
you. So Jimmy used to say the same when they did the Control album, that they followed Janet around, and she talked about her dad trying to take control. She talked about when it took it, some
wow.
nasty boys were talking to her, and she was like, "These nasty boys talking to me, and I didn't. Why didn't you help me?" And they created a song based on it. So that's what Jimmy said. He said all these things. The whole album was based on just having a conversation with Janet and having her talk, and then they just created a song. So when you were saying about paying attention and letting the artists come in, that was what the greats are doing. Tim and Bob and Jimmy and Terry, making sure that it becomes they're involved, and it creates a more long-lasting song that isn't sort of force-fed on us.
That's it. But we do that too. At first, every session we have, the first sometimes 2 hours is just talking about what's going on. It's just, getting to know each other. How are you gonna go in and, we see some top lines will come in and they have like 4 sessions in a day. And we will just say, if you just had one, we
Yeah.
would write a great song. But that's also the way it works right now. But Jimmy Jam, it's funny you bring up Jim about Jim Jam, because Jim Jam also told me another thing. I remember when we had some of our first hits, and I was sitting next to him at some Clive Davis party, whatever, and I would be like obsessed with like what chart position my song, whatever. And Jimmy just looking at you and listen, all that energy you were spending right there, put that in the studio. Do
Wow.
the best you can in the studio. And once you're done and you've done all you can, you let it go. And whatever happens after that, it's out of your control. We're producers. You're not marketing guy, And I really like that, because it takes attention away in a session, sitting there finding out what songs are blah 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 and all. Focus on what you're doing, and
Yeah.
our job is in the studio, and we love it.
The one thing you keep talking about is what's your relationship with Colin? Because I listened to Jimmy talk about his relationship with Terry. There was no contract. They're they're more than brothers and more than friends. It's a partnership, and LA and Babyface
Everyone
is
comes up.
yes. So how was it with Carlin? Because you talk with him so
Just
glowingly.
but he's just incredible. He's just incredible. I will say that, we had a long run. We had a lot of big records, 702s and Whitney Houston's and all this stuff. And I remember around 2000, Carlin was done. He was worn out
Wow.
from having to deliver hits. And this what comes with the territory is we start getting paid a lot of money. And we will get a lot of money up front before the song is written. I loved it. Let me buy a Porsche. Great. But what you don't realize in that young phase of your life is you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself. Now you're getting a lot of money for a song that's not even written yet. And when they paid us that kind of money, like when R. Kelly was on an album, or LA Babe or us or Timberland or whatever, that was singles. That's where all the money went. So we couldn't write a good song. A good song wasn't good enough. No, they were expecting a #1 record.
Wow.
And that catches up with you,
Yeah.
especially Carlin, who had the long hours in the studio sitting with every songwriter. So I remember in 2000, we had a session with Kelly Rowland. He goes, I don't feel like doing it. I go, I don't either necessarily, but they paid us already. We have to do it. He goes, I don't want to do it. And I'm like, wow. So he took 5 years off. And I was all of a sudden by myself. I was sitting in the studio. I remember I came to my studio. We were down on Sunset Boulevard. And I was sitting at 10 in the morning. And I said to Max, yeah, I'll see you. We will be home for dinner. Yeah. I didn't want to tell her yet, and I just sit in the studio and I never turn on the light. And at like 6 at night, I'm just still sitting in the same seat. What am I going to do? How am I going to do this? And in those 5 years, I managed to get by. We actually wrote the biggest record I've had in my career, which is Pitbull and Chris Brown, International Love. And I wrote that or produced that with a guy. I always like to work with people. I don't like to work by myself. I did that with a guy called Peter Beager. But I missed Carlin so much. And when I lost her in 2015, he came back. And thank God.
Wow.
And we started working again, and we're just brothers. When you accomplish something like that together, I don't think you're ever going to lose that bond. Unfortunately, I see a lot of people breaking up.
Yeah.
I really think that's something to do with your ego too. And I think with me and Colin, listen, he knows I can be this and whatever. I'm the driving force of our team and whatever. But he knows little Carsten Schack, which is my name, and he's still Kenneth Karlin. And it's Kenneth and Carsten. I'm from Aalborg, and he's from Rødovre. And that bond if you can keep that sincereness in a relationship, probably goes for marriage too, actually.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Then you don't lose. If you go on an ego ride and you buy a Porsche Mercedes, okay, maybe you do it together, but you also have each other. Sometimes when you're at night, cool. I love this house. I love this 100-inch flat screen I had, but why am I not happy? And him and I, just since we've known each other, so it's the same thing I had with Maxie. Before, when we met each other, she If You Love Me hadn't been released yet, and I hadn't had any hits yet. So that's also the sincerity we had. We knew our love and I guess you could say with Colin too, whatever, our respect for each other was sincere.
Yeah.
So, I just, when people go through this, I'm so sad when people break up and stuff like that. I understand you need breaks and stuff like that, and you also need separate lives. But I think in me and Colin's case, I mean, he's so talented. I mean, the guy is crazy on those keyboards.
Yeah, but as I mentioned, I started off by talking about being a therapist, and part of why I do this was to really highlight that actually those within the industry, as famous and as rich as you guys are, can still struggle with mental health. So for Colin, I can imagine why he would step back, because the pressure and depression could sink in. There's a lot of self-esteem or anxiety, and you need the break, and most people don't. They try and power through it. And
I
And
do.
that's important, especially as men. We think we're macho and stuff. So
Always.
I'm glad at least he was able to take that step back. But
And,
then
and, and
did
he's the guy who's teaching me that side. I'm the more than macho alpha, whatever, but he's the one that constantly, he's more spiritual and he will, he will just know if he calls me, I'm like, "Arr," and I'm like, I'm just like, what happened? Did you run out of coffee? Like, did the bagels not show up? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So, he's such a gentle, beautiful soul. And I think he knows me so well that he can always, and just like I can help him. But that spiritual side is definitely him I think that's why we're still together. That's his really, I would give him that his credit because, you know, definitely when we had 10 number ones, whatever, I was, woo, I was flying. I did not see many things around me. I was just on top of the world.
Wait,
And
wait.
thank God to have someone like Karlin as a partner. But because if I had some new American partner, would also be both Danish, whatever,
Yeah,
people
yeah.
could keep things a little grounded. Even though grounded at that time would be still out of control for a lot of the people.
But then think about it. You got called by Clive to write for Whitney, or did you have the track and then he said he wanted to what? How did that the Heartbreak Hotel? Because that's I love the Faith and Kelly and
Right?
that's it's just the
Such an R&B right?
and it and
Yeah.
it is
So that's
it's
Clive.
not yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just saying that you had these power singers who didn't bring too much power to it. So you could we could sing along because Whitney and Kelly could just take you up there, but they were like, no, we're gonna keep it
Keep it
slow. And
cool. Yeah. What we
Faith was
always
just
did, even on I Love Me Some Him with Toni. Toni can go there
yeah,
too.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think
Tony.
we always were, we liked it little sexy, a little cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that story is crazy. We wrote that story. That was actually we signed with EMI Publishing and Big John, who was an A&R person there. He's now head of the company. But he had this new writer. I got a brand new writer. And we love new talent. We have had so much success with new talent. Monica, JoJo, who was like
Oh
only
yeah.
12 when we leave Get Out. No one knew who he was. We loved him. And so this was a new writer, and her name was Tamara. And she came to the studio, just her first session. And this girl writes Heartbreak Hotel in her first writing session. But I remember Carmen being a big, big drummer. So this whole record was done. And I came in, I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait to do a beat. Now I'll kind of let a little Timbaland thing going,
Yeah.
just going crazy on this. So I just loved it so much. And we just went to see Clive, and we had this record as one of all the records we had. But we kind of knew we had a hot one. And so we went to Bungalow 8 one more time, and Wycliffe was there, and there's a big party going on. There was always so many people there. And again, back to your point and what we talked about earlier, Clive, when you walked into a room, he paid full attention to you, even though it's
Wow.
5 days. And even though Wycliffe was sitting there, whatever, if the meeting now was over with Wycliffe or Prince or whatever, and it was Soulshock Karlin and no one knew, we got the same attention. He
Wow.
understood songwriters, how important they are. They are the ones and producers that makes his machine go round. And he and is the king.
Mm.
No one touches Clive. You would break your ankle for Clive, without even understanding. But anyways, we played Heartbreak Hotel, the first song. And at that time, Larry Jackson, who's now head of Apple Music instead, he was Clive's assistant. And that was just I mean, Clive just stopped the record. He's like, what the fuck? He was like, and he knew what he was about to say. And he said, I think we should do that with Whitney Houston. And even though we had worked with Tupac and Toni Braxton and Beyonce, whatever, or Destiny's Child, Whitney, it just didn't get better. I mean, we were almost nervous. And funny enough, the same thing happened. L.A. Reid writes a call 2 days after, I want to do the song with TLC.
Wow.
And we had to say once again, no, because And he got pissed off and asked one more time and didn't talk to me for another 2 years. You know,
But how did he hear the song? Who's leaking it out?
because we have a manager that just sends out songs. Are you leaving? Yeah. Okay. When are you going to be late? No. Okay. I love you. Sorry, that was my son.
Okay, that's fine. So they'll send it out to different labels
Yeah,
to see.
you know, but then Clyde would always call in for meetings, which meant sometimes he would be a little bit behind because Clyde wanted to hear the songs in person. And also you had to bring the lyrics. He was obsessed with the lyrics. He would sit with, if you didn't bring the lyrics, he didn't want to hear the song. You had to sit with the lyrics and you played him song. Wow. So LA had heard it in theory before him, and we had to turn him down again. You know, so it is so funny with the LA. Anyways, we're going crazy. And he goes, "You're flying to New Jersey."
Oh, New Jersey, okay.
Because you're going to record it at Whitney's house. Whitney and Bobby had just bought a house. Keep in mind, this is after Bodyguard. She is on top of the world. She's just sold 33 million singles.
Yeah, how do you do that?
Of I'll Always Love You. So we fly into New York and we're at the Waldorf fancies there. And again, Babyface is there, David Foster. We all staying. And I keep seeing David Foster and Babyface coming back every time they go to see him. We were waiting to go work with her. And I said to Kenny, "How did it go?" He goes, "Yeah, I didn't get into the house. What? They didn't open the gate." I go, "What?" And he finally comes back today, like, "We're leaving." And Babyface goes, "Good luck." And I said, "What's going on here?" He goes, "You'll find out." Bobby and Whitney, you're about to find out. So now it's our turn. So we drive to New Jersey, to this crazy rich area in New Jersey with these mansions and this gate that's like 4 times as big as my house. And all we heard was, "Miss Houston is not ready to say." Okay, back again. And we did that again, and again, and again, and again. And on the 8th time, now I'm just chilling in the car, eating, you know, chips and stuff, and playing on my phone, and not even barely had the equipment we needed because, you know, we still back then needed a ton of equipment. And we're coming out, and I'm like, "Miss Houston is not ready." "Miss Houston is ready." Shit. And the gate opens, and I'm like, "Oh my fucking God. Shit, did you bring that, Colin? Did you bring the meaty thing? Did you go Emacs? Yeah, we have it. Okay. Shit, okay." We go in, and I'm a little nervous. Even though I work with all these artists, I'm not gonna lie to you. And we get up to the house, and Robin was like her sister.
Yeah, Robin, yeah.
Show you the studio. We walk into this crazy house. There's so many people. So her mom was there, and everybody's eating fried chicken, and I'm like, "Oh, great. It's like a Thanksgiving dinner almost, like whatever." And okay, let's go. I'm in them. It's just a lot of assistants and someone running, "Oh, did you get her dress ready?" And it's like shit. And we're going to this room, amazing SL 9000, brand new, like 120 channel. I've never seen a studio like this. Incredible.
Wow.
And so we're waiting for Whitney, and kind of an hour go by. So I go to Rob and I said, "So where's Whitney?" She's like, "Is that upstairs?" Or she goes, "Honey, let me show you where Whitney is. Come with me." We walk out this huge house, and I'm like at a golf court. And at the end of the golf court, there's a castle that's like bigger than your. And she goes, "That's where Whitney is." So she bought 2 properties. One, the neighbor house was the studio, and then her castle was where Bobby and Whitney are. And she has barely said this before I see a golf cart coming, and I kid you not, Bobby and Whitney coming up in a golf cart. Bobby's holding a ball of Hennessy. The golf cart is swirling like this. And Robin goes, "Are you ready?"
Oh,
sure I am. So here comes Whitney Houston. And Bobby comes and says, "What? Okay, we're going to do my album first. I love you guys. I love that song you guys did with Tupac, whatever. I got some demos and whatever." And I think Clive said to me, "Whatever happens, do not get Bobby on the record. He's on every song." let's go play, let's get ready. And I'm like, well, okay, all right. I mean, this probably we go in, and then Whitney came, and I'm telling you, when I stood in front of her, I was little Mr. Carsten from Aalborg in Denmark. I was this big. I could not even look at it. I mean, it was fucking Whitney Houston, man. And she goes, hey, how's it go, honey? And I'm like, I love the song. Thank you. And Bobby and her are just doing a lot. And she had what's called tea breaks, where she would disappear in the bathroom. I'm not gonna say anything else, okay? I'm just gonna stays in studio. And she came out, and she goes, okay, let's go. And I'll be like, okay. And she goes in the booth, and she starts singing until Heartbreak Show, and it is horrible.
Oh,
horrible. And the song is almost over, and I'm sitting in Carlin sitting. I go, I'm not fucking telling Whitney Houston it's not sounding good. And he goes, you think I'm gonna fucking tell her? I'm not gonna. No, I'm not telling Whitney it doesn't sound good. The song stops, and it's just quiet. And I just sitting there talking Danish. She goes, what's going on? And she comes out and goes, hey, listen, you wrote this song. I didn't write anything. It's your song. Just tell me how you want me to sing it. It's okay. And I said, well, it's kind of like, it bounces. It's kind of double tempo. She goes, I got it. She goes in, worst take. She goes, done. Bobby, let's go back to the house. He goes, yeah. And he goes, I'm coming back to do the rap part tomorrow. And off they And here we are. Phone rings. Clive Davis on the phone. Did you get, it's important you get the best vocal ever from Whitney, because, I'm putting two other singers on. So it has to be like, she has to be better than them. How do they go? Like, good. They went really good. Really good. So we're coming back the next day. Now Faith is rolling in. And Faith, I mean, I don't know if you've ever interviewed her or anything.
Not yet.
I mean, she's just the most amazing, sweet, incredible.
Yeah.
Just want to hug her, and she's so amazing. Her voice is so incredible.
Yeah.
And she was going through a lot, I think, with Biggie and stuff at that time, so, which was okay, because we like when people are a little bit moody.
Yeah.
And she went in, and we cried. I mean,
she sang.
Oh, and she nailed her parts. Like, we still didn't really know who was doing what yet. But we knew for a fact she was going to do what's called the pre-hook. I think you call it in England, because the way she just sets up the hook, no one will ever. I mean, we were just going crazy, and we just came out, we hugged and talked, and and then Kelly comes in, and Kelly is just ripping it. Like, me and Kyle were like, oh my God, need to turn down the recording signal, because she's blowing up every tube in the studio. She was just like, whoa. And we were like, oh my God, just ripping it.
Oh.
So now, and again, wonderful and faithful there. We're all hugging, kissing. Now it's 6 at night. Clive's calling. I was on, it goes, oh my God, Faith and Kelly sound amazing. I don't care. How's Whitney sounding? I go, I'll get right back to you on that one. And he goes, is Bob Brown the record? He goes, well, Bobby's kind of doing, this is the heartbreak hotel. He goes, what did I tell you? Get him off the fucking record and get Whitney to do that part. And I'm like, oh. But this is where, as a producer, you got to understand, all you kids who are starting as producers, it's on you.
Wow.
The producer, Quincy in the studio, whoever's in Teddy, it's on us to get it to sound good. There's no one else. There's a record company, they don't do this. There's an artist, they hire you to sound the best. Okay, so I'm calling the house. And I said, Robin, I really need to talk to Whitney. She goes, no, I don't think it's a good time right now. I go, I'm really sorry. I really need to talk to her. She goes, okay. And she gets like, oh, what's up, honey? It's perfect, isn't it great? And I say, I really would like you to hear it. No, honey. I love what I did yesterday. It was amazing. I said, okay. And I'm like, my mind is racing now. And I go, well, here's the thing. I just got off the phone with Clive Davis. And he wants you to approve this record. And I'm not allowed to leave this studio, and I want to go with you, but I can't. I can't lie to Clive. You need to come listen to the song. And I knew Clive.
The fear.
Yeah, you know, Clive. She goes, oh, God, it's typical. But we're really busy here and stuff like that. I'm like, I know. And here they come again on the call guy, and Bobby is fucked up. I mean, love him to death. To me, please don't. This is not negative.
No, we've seen the stuff. We all know, and Bobby
Yeah,
has admitted, yeah.
yeah. So she comes in, and I no, I don't want to give her speech about anything. This is fucking Whitney Houston. So I just sit down, and Bobby goes, "Oh yeah, let's go." And I said, "You know what? Before we go, actually, you know, Whitney, I see that you and Bobby are so much in love. Why don't you do this part, the Heartbreak Hotel, together, like a couple?" She goes, "That's kind of cute." She goes in, she goes, "This is the Heartbreak Hotel." "No, I don't like it." And I'm like, "That's good. That's okay. I got it." So that's just the one line I'm looping through the whole song because I got to be on top of Bobby. Okay, one problem solved. Here's the big one. I go, "Okay, I'm just gonna. Can you sit here?" She goes, "No, I'm fine over here." I said, "I think you should sit over here. You sit in front of the speakers." And I press play, and Kelly is murdering, and Faith is an angel coming from heaven, and here comes Whitney, and I just let her hear herself, and I just stood there, and I could see, okay, something is going on there. And when it was over, she was totally quiet, and Bobby goes, "Okay." She goes, "Bobby, shut up." It's just quiet. And he goes, "Okay." And she goes, "Rosalie, I need my tracksuit, the pink one. Robin, I need my inhaler tube for my lungs. I need this." And we're switching the microphone. I like the microphone we did on I Always Love You. Yeah, I want that microphone. Also, get my second engineer in here right now, and we're going to switch out what's the setting in the vocal room. And I'm like, okay.
Okay, she woke up.
She took everything off and like put her like tracksuit on, like that she normally, I guess she has like a whole spiritual thing.
Yeah.
And she goes, "Are you guys ready?" And we're like, "Yes, ma'am." And she went in and she murdered it for like 3, 4 takes. And she sweated so you could really tell she was going through. This was the beginning of her going through some challenging moments.
Yeah.
She killing her, you know. And it was just, you know, but man, she gave it all. I mean, her wig fell off. I mean, she gave everything. And she came out and we all just hugged and danced and was so happy. But you could also tell how hard it was for
It took
her
a lot.
to sing on that level. And then we had a puzzle after this. I hope it's okay because it's one of my favorite records we did too. We had just had all the ad-libs and everything on an MPC. So everything you hear, ooh, yeah, this is the heartbreak. Ooh, this just me sitting punching in. I had a Faith page, a Kelly page, and a Whitney ad-lib page. And every ad-lib you hear in that record is just put back in on the record because we couldn't control the amount of singing we had.
Yeah. Wow.
We had a page of Faith with all the best ad-libs, Faith of Kelly, and every ad-lib you hear is just put punched back into the song.
Wow.
And it came out, and I had this is the Heartbreak Hotel, and I could almost not get her no away, but I had to chop it really tight in the end, so I could just loop that all the way through. So we ended up saving that record, and I'm so proud of that record.
So you couldn't keep. How would Bobby have sounded with it?
Well, I have a version if you want to hear it.
It would have been great to hear his part of it. You didn't want to keep it for a remix or something?
Well, not Clive Davis was that was not approved. And let me tell you, I learned very early on, if it's not approved by Clive, then you don't.
Wow. You know what? I think, we've seen the film, I Want to Dance with Somebody. We saw the Bobby documentary and we realized, no, so it's nothing a big secret, but I think I've heard Kelly talk about when when they did perform that it felt as if Whitney had to take it a notch up because she thinks
really hard for her. And I think, I mean, for me, and I'm gonna go on record saying I think she's the greatest female singer of all time.
Yeah.
I know Aretha. I know, I get it. I know, but for me, She's the greatest singer. And I think why must I just feel the vocal on "I Will Always Love You."
Yeah.
To this day, I don't even understand it. And I'm a producer. I don't even get the way she's breaking into falsettos and the power of holding. It's and having emotion at the same time too. And that goes for many of her records too. Even the "How Will I Know?" It's pop, but it's also she sings it so emotional. So, for me, she just, in my generation, for me, she's just all-time greatest singer of all time. And I really think her lifestyle really, it was real. It's like, if Cristiano Ronaldo doesn't practice and sit in his and run in water and God knows what he does in snow or whatever. I mean, this guy's, it's crazy. But that's why he's at 38, even though he was laughing. Well, he's still the one who scored the most goals this year. Okay, yes, in Saudi Arabia, but 54 goals, doesn't matter where you're playing, I mean, that's pretty, of course, it's still in the professional league. I think you just got to keep it up, and you see it to reference football. You see it in players. Eden Hazard, why are you done at 30? I'll tell you why. He came to Madrid, now we're talking football.
Yeah.
You come and you're overweight, whatever, and you think at 30, oh, I'm just going to train for a week. No, your body. It's not the way you can't get it back. And I think Whitney was at that point, and you saw it because we worked with her on the next album too. We couldn't finish a song. We flew to Atlanta, and I almost don't even want to share too much of this, but she showed up, and that was not Whitney Houston. That song, that was not Whitney Houston.
At this time, could you use autotunes, or was it still?
No, we didn't have autotune. I mean, with Faith and Kelly and Whitney,
you didn't need, of course.
Just no, but actually on some of the other songs, the first time we used autotune is on the 702. And we actually use it so much that we get the share effect, because we have heard that share record. So if you listen to 702, we crank it up so you can hear this autotune on because you get that robot feel. But no, we didn't have it. I mean, back then, but with Faith, and I mean, nothing I had was not in pitch. Nothing. 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 These were, and that's what Clyde wanted to show. He wanted Whitney to be current. He wanted to bring in he wanted to keep. Funny enough, he wanted to hire the white boys to get the urban record. He wanted the R&B, but he really he didn't want a pop record. He really wanted an R&B record, and we had done so many R&B records. Many of our records are really R&B, not because we thought about it, just what we loved. That's all we wanted to do. Every time I remember Clive calls in and said, "I wanted to work with Ace of Base." You're like, "No fucking way." No way. He goes, "Are you crazy? The biggest band in the world." I go, "No interest." He goes, "You know how much money?" I go, "I'm not in this with money. I want to work with R&B and hip hop. Don't call me with this stuff." So we were really living this, and also, I have to say, being around Maxie with Brownstone, that's a really serious R&B group with some harmonies and some gospel and stuff like that. I was around them all the time. I really got to understand, and Maxie took me to churches and stuff. I mean, I really got to understand the depth of these vocals.
Yeah, it just finally, when you took the record back to Clive, was he surprised with the finished product?
No, that's what he expected. he just listened to it. He goes, "Yeah, okay. I don't think I have any changes." I mean, we got paid. I won't even tell you how much money we got paid. You won't believe it. We got paid so much money to do. We were so on top of the world. So it's like when you buy a Ferrari, when it drives well, it's not going to go, "Oh my God, it drives amazing." It better fucking drive amazing. You just spent $500,000 on a car. You know what I mean? And I think when we came with records, Clive looked at it. It's like, of course it was perfect. But I think maybe deep down he knew it was starting to be tough. And she was also smoking a lot of cigarettes besides weed and everything else. And your vocal cords and her lifestyle, and really, I can definitely say they were living it up. Whitney, when you sing, the amount of actually, lung capacity you need to have to hold these notes. And right after, ooh, you got to go back and sing a verse. It's not like it stops. And then
Yeah.
you add on to it live on stage. So I can imagine when you talk to Kelly that she would be like, she probably could tell this was hard for her. She
Yeah.
really had to get herself up on that level, and get herself up on that level wasn't easy with
With all that
where she,
that's happening.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But how proud was it when they out the song went to #1? I mean, it's it was Whitney, one of my favorite Whitney tracks because I
Oh my
know she
God,
has
thank
the
you.
power, but it just felt like just a vibe. And I said I love how Faith just harmonizes through that and everything. But how satisfactory was it to this all the story you've just told to see how we all received it? Like, wow, this is awesome.
It was unbelievable. The first time we got flown out to New York, and Clive Davis is introducing the new Whitney Houston album. I gotta tell you, I couldn't believe I was there. I just felt this can be true. And I'm sitting, hey, oh, Rodney Jerkins, right? Okay, hey, Jimmy Jam, hey, David Foster, hey, they're all sitting, and here are the producers. Of course, we don't white boys except David Foster. And, and but I got shy, really, that I just couldn't believe I made this record. I was stunned we achieved this. And when I saw the reaction and everybody, it was kind of weird because I didn't really know what to do after this, because I don't think we could ever beat anything.
Yeah,
There's nothing higher. So, there was Michael Jackson, but this is kind of also when Michael a little bit, he's done Dangerous, Teddy
yeah,
Gill, but it was a really weird period, because I don't know if you can imagine, it's like if you won the Champions League, or you waited for your
yeah,
life, and it's
yeah,
almost like that drive, that motivation, that dream you had as a little child, and you reimagine in your mind, and now you're here, and then when it's happening, you just go, now what? Like,
oh yeah,
yeah, so as much as we loved it, we were overwhelmed, and we got so many calls. This is also where Carsten starts feeling like the pressure.
yeah.
People were lining up, and we were booked for like 2 years ahead of time. And
Wow.
I lost my mind a little bit that period. I'm not going to lie. I went through a moment where success just got to me. And I remember Maxie, actually, she was like, she left. She was like, time out. You're gone crazy. And I woke up one morning, and I come downstairs, and there's like girls everywhere in the house, and just party all over the house, and people I don't know. And I was like, what the fuck has happened to me? And I remember calling Maxie's family. She had moved to London. She did a solo album for
Mhm.
Mercury. And she was engaged to a beautiful guy called Oliver, who was a great producer in England. And I knew if I didn't get her back, I don't know where I needed her. I needed her so bad. And now we're getting a little personal here. That's nice. And I flew to London, and this is because we were working with Craig David. Craig David wanted us to work on his second album. We did a great record, Rise and Fall with Sting. And I was living up in Primrose Hill, London. By the way, loved Primrose Hill. That was a studio up there. I think it's gone. That's where we did Craig David. And all I was in London for was finding Maxie.
Wow.
And I remember calling one of her aunts. She finally gives her number. I remember calling Maxie, and she's like, "No fucking way, not you." And I go, "I lost my mind. It got to me. I need you, blah blah blah." And I had to meet with her and Oliver, who had gotten engaged. The blah blah blah. And it was all dinner, and Oliver was so sweet. He goes, "You two are soulmates. I'm not gonna." And that's when she said, "That's it. If I'm coming back, we're having kids and family, and no more." And so that was my moment in life where I
Wow.
realized I had also gotten a little bit out of control. So that was a
Wow.
beautiful moment, to realize it. Thank God,
Yeah.
don't realize it. And I think that's maybe my upbringing, whatever. So it's funny we talk about this beautiful record here, all this comes with it, because that is big to be #1 in the world with music.
Yeah.
It's overwhelmingly big. And whoever starts producing whatever in your dreams, just remember when you have them, when you achieve them, calm down.
Yeah, yeah. But also because it's not that you just had a number one record. You've spoken about the trials and tribulations of getting that record recorded. I don't think any of us, because before you experienced what you did with Bobby and Whitney, all of us know about it now because we've seen it on two or three different
Again,
films. So it's not a surprise. But back then, we didn't know about what was happening, and
was.
you were paid to deliver a record. There was no real altitude at that time to be able to just take a little bit and modify it. And Whitney is Whitney. You can't
Yeah.
modify her voice. So so I can imagine the
We didn't have Pro
stress.
Tools.
Yeah, no Pro
We were
Tools,
on
anything.
tape. We were on tape.
Yeah. So
We're actually
hearing
on ADATs.
hearing the story, the pressure of recording, because I don't think you make it seem you said it, you sounded in a fun way, but it sounds to me stressful, and the
Oh my
pressure
God.
of Clive
Fucking
saying you
intense.
get that record done and stuff. So I think I can now understand why it affected you guys, right
It
afterwards.
did. It really did. Yeah, it did. It was just almost feeling like I felt like I was living in a movie also. Like I was just like, and oh, everybody calling and getting invited, or oh, Brett Ratner wants to meet you for his new movie. And I'm like, why? Well, because you're Whitney Houston's producer. I'm like, oh yeah. Like it's just, wow, it's really crazy. But yes, getting that's the most important part for I can give all these producers who are coming up. You have to understand there's no one besides you to
Mm.
get this song right. So focus in the studio on it because as Jimmy Jam says, that's what we do and that's all we can do. Don't do it half-hearted. You've got to do it all the way because there's no one behind you. You are the one, if you call yourself a producer, you're the one who is responsible for
Yeah.
this record.
Wow. As I said, you couldn't even enjoy them being at number one because of the stress
No,
and
not
everything.
really. Yo, in a out of control way, I guess you could say, but yes, not necessarily in a happy way.
Wow, goodness. I know you guys did the you don't know it's I've interviewed Mila almost from 702, and she's and because she has her son and her own drama and story, and 702 are really a really unique group. At this time though, are you taking less? Are you pacing yourselves and not doing too many big
No,
singles or?
no, no. We took it all in, man. We did everything. We did song deals all over the world. We flew around. I
Wow.
mean, it was crazy. It was crazy. And our management, of course, were encouraging. I'm like, can't
Yeah,
believe they're
because
paying
you
you
don't
guys
know
this
how
kind of
long it was
money.
going to last. Just take it and go.
Yeah, well, I didn't really think like that. We just, but that's where maybe I should have paid more attention also to Carlin because I remember, for example, the Craig David, sessions. Even though we had the best time, Craig David is one of the most incredible artists I worked with. What a sweetheart, and
Mm.
what a funny guy he is. He is fun. He's the one who introduced us to Nando's, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
but yeah, I think it's really hard to, and I'm sure when I say to producers who listen to this, they'll be like, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's really hard to explain the situation until when you're in it. When you are making those big records, it really is, this one guy, Robert De Niro, he has this one saying, he goes, no matter how much you have, stay calm.
Mm.
That's easier said than done. And I should listen to that a little more too in those days too, because it's really true. Calm down, but your world around you is going 4,000 miles an hour.
Yeah, yeah,
Your phone is ringing off the hook. You're getting offered everything, and you just, if you could just stay calm, I mean, and then when I say this, people will, yeah, yeah, yeah. But when they're in it, it's
yeah,
it's just really hard. But I don't want you to think that this. We were so proud, and so I mean, it's still one of my favorite records we've done. That and
yeah.
maybe "Do for Love" stands out. Some two of my favorite records we've done, And so we're so proud of it, but it's just, man, world goes, you are now on the top,
Yeah.
really top of what my dream was. Then you can be an actor, or whatever. But my dream was to be a top producer in the world. Well,
Yeah.
guess what? You are now.
Yeah. And then what's next?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. You guys then moved on to work with a child star who was in a way looking to leave the industry, and that was Tracie Spencer. Did you feel
Oh, Tracy is deep in my heart these days. Yes, love to talk about her.
Yeah, what was it like then when you are working with her when she is probably coming to a place where this industry isn't for me anymore, but I still have to come up with a record, and I'm competing with a lot of other things happening.
Man, we could tell. We could really tell. We got hired by Roy Lott, who was used to work for Clive, was now head of Capitol Records. And he, of course, he wanted the best producers to work with her. And we were Clive's favorite producer there for a second, which is crazy. So he hired us to do the whole record. And I didn't really know much about the story, but I remember one thing I remember was that she won Star Search at
Yeah.
11 years old. And this poor girl had been through 2 or 3 albums trying to remake, and all Capitol Records all of a sudden they took away their urban department, but we're gonna keep you. Okay. So when we met her, I remember coming to the studio and she's so gorgeous, and we walked in and I could really tell that whatever speech I was giving or trying to inspire, she had heard so many times.
Uh-huh.
And I remember she had she's gonna kill me with this. I remember she had a bottle of E&J whiskey, and I was all doing my speech, and she's like, okay. And I was like, wow, this is gonna be a challenge. And so we took really long time. And again, Karlin is just the master in the studio, and her and Tracie, and humor. We
Okay.
started so many jokes about Tracie when she comes to this session, how she would show up, whatever. And all of a sudden, I started seeing a glow around her. And she started laughing. And all of a sudden, when we made vocals too, she cared. Because in the first couple of takes, songs she's singing, and I'm like, well, this, and she goes, okay. You could just tell she's done like maybe 2,000 songs, something like that at this point in her career. And she's so young still. But we are so proud of that record. We just, she's doing some touring right now with She. So, and I'm kind of, we're talking a little bit again. We reconnected. It's just the most beautiful thing in the world. We're helping her a little bit with, with some intros and stuff for her performance and stuff like that. And we just listened to some of the songs we did, and All About You is a hot record. Great record we did with her. We really are still in my heart, which is Andrea Martin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's beautiful to see that. But that's where you really could tell someone, and also so young.
Yeah. Just yeah.
I mean, this is a brutal industry. I mean,
Yeah.
let's not sugarcoat that for anyone who wants to go into this. And I say to everybody, my son wants to be a producer, or is a producer now, doing really well. And it's like 99% no. Everything you do is no. Send out a song, I don't like it. No, it's not going to make it album. No, the artists don't like it. No, the A&R people don't like it. Or yes, they like it, but it's never going to get released. So if you're not ready for that, then you shouldn't do it. And what does that mean? Well, in my case, I don't care if I worked at a bank or in a mechanic store. I would always make music. I don't know how not to make music. And I think your determination for music has to be that high to make it, because you will make it no matter what. You can't, you can say no and I don't care. I'm still gonna make a beat, you're gonna pick why? Because I don't know how not to, so and then the small things you start, if you have success, those have to be recharging your battery, and you have to enjoy when Tupac came out, we partied all night long with Tupac. Why? Because we needed all the stuff we went through to get to that point. And now we're putting out a record with Tupac, you know? So it's important to reach out and enjoy those moments there, because most of the moments, and I think most artists can tell you this, are not necessarily positive.
Yeah, yeah. But we all know it is a shark industry. For the artists, from them, it's like everyone's taking their money while they just want to focus on the art.
Totally.
And unfortunately, when I've interviewed females, the extras, this challenge that they have recording or touring is there as well. So it's just not an industry that's really safe without for men maybe, but then even then, there isn't that welfare support. You guys were going through so much, but who was there to say, okay, do you need a therapist and stuff like that? It's like, here's more money. You're feeling low, here's more money, and that doesn't solve anything.
Always. No, it doesn't, you know, and it's really important, you know, thank God, as I said, that I had Colin. Thank God for my family. Thank
Yeah.
God for Maxie. Thank God for people around me that I knew were really close to me. So it's also so important. Some of my friends, our best friends, are still my original friends, all the way back from my little town in Aalborg. You know, it's still the same friends, you know, I have. So it's so important that you stay connected.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Person who really are inside, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I tell my patients, especially the young ones, that the ones who have the best recovery are the ones who have an identity forged within their family.
Yeah,
So, like your
very
son
true.
now, if he goes out, but because you've really instilled in him what it is to be a man and what it is to be
Yes.
successful in things, he doesn't then go out and when he's been told no, it's rubbish, he knows that actually he could work hard and stuff, but he doesn't feel that that's a reflection on him because
Right.
he's been in things have been installed in him since he was growing up. And unfortunately, some of the kids go out and they don't get that value installed from them at home. So they go out and find it in on social media from other people and they get confused, they get lost. And they do, and that's where a lot of those issues happen and stuff. So the fact that you could be very humble in your roots back from Denmark, so when all this is happening, you and Colin can say, "Hey, look, remember where we came from, remember where we started from," and then be able to like recharge and stuff. Yeah, I mean,
And my mom and dad, you know, I don't have my mom anymore, but you know, I still talk to my dad every day. He's 87 years old. Actually, turned 88 today. It's his
oh
birthday.
wow, happy
You
50.
know, I just you know, it's just really important. You know, when you hear this all the time, and as a young person, you go, yeah, yeah, yeah. But actually, family
Yeah, yeah,
and friends around you, you have no idea how important that is. It's everything, and
yeah,
that's also why we were talking about stories and people in New York growing up that doesn't have that security system.
yeah,
It's so easy to
mm,
fall,
yeah, yeah. It no,
nothing to
definitely.
fall back on.
Yeah, but that's as I said, that is the big thing that when I do my treatment, I try and let us look at your circle of friendship and family, and I say we need to work on getting people closer to you before as we're working with treatment because unless you have a nucleus of support, you can fall anytime and no one's going to be there.
Very
Um,
true.
saying that, um, you didn't do work on with Brownstone.
We did.
Oh, you did.
Yeah,
On
we
their
did.
second album, or
No, yeah. From the bottom up, it's might be the first album. We did the first album. Yeah, we. That's where I met Maxie. When it's a very special song because it's called "Sometimes Dancing"
oh,
and it's a reggae song.
okay, that's
And the
okay.
reason why Nikki mostly did the lead vocal, but Maxi, because she's from the islands,
Mm.
they wanted from Guyana, family was all over the islands. They wanted her to do lead vocal. And the moment I heard that, I said to Colin, "I'm doing the vocal." And Colin goes, "You don't do vocals?" I said, "I know, but in this case, I am doing the vocal."
Oh,
More to be right in front of her.
oh,
I was
goodness.
so blown away.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I've interviewed Nikki last year
Oh,
and
really? Oh,
yeah, 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 and one of the things that I loved about Brownstone is that they were, in the midst of SWV, Total, and everything, they just had power Um,
big time.
they just had power. But I love the 5 Miles to Empty. I just
Yeah,
loved I love the fact that they were different. They were different,
the
and
harmonies were
yeah, the harmonies,
insane.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, they were one of my
It's
favorite.
true. They had these big hooks where they, but you know what? Jodeci actually sang pretty powerful too. Casey, he would belt too when they were doing their hooks, and they would stack those hooks a lot too.
Yeah, but think about a group of Kelly Price, a group that had Kelly Price 3 times. You know,
Oh,
this is what
yeah,
Brownstone felt like. It
yeah,
felt like this
yeah.
that type of that type
Power. Yeah,
of that type of
yeah,
power.
yeah.
Um, yeah, but so when you recorded album, so did you then develop the relationship throughout? Was that how
That
did
was the
that
moment. That was it.
change? Yeah, how
The
did that
moment I saw
change
Max, that was
your
it.
life then when you guys got together?
Totally. That was it. That we came in and we recorded that in the room where Michael Jackson did Thriller at
Oh,
Westlake Audio Studio. I
okay.
remember it very well. Yeah, very special room too. And I just remember seeing she walked in, she had these long braids. And I'm like, wow,
What?
that's not what I see in Denmark. And I was just, she was so, and then she had these beautiful eyes. And I remember I called her next day, and Nikki knew already. She could tell. She could tell in that session. She's like, those two,
Wow.
they're so funny. So that's it. From that moment, that was from that moment, I was with Maxie. That was it. We never really left each other in our life. We in and out
Yeah.
because of chaos. No, then she goes on tour. So she goes #1 on R&B with, you know, the big
Grapevine
record.
and yeah,
Yeah,
Grapevine.
yeah. But of course, if you love me,
And If You
that
Love Me,
was the
yeah.
one that really was big over here. So it was just chaotic, and we were young. We were young.
Yeah.
So I'm so blessed that we got to settle down together, and at least I got some wonderful years with her, and she was an amazing mom to Nikolai that's still with me here today.
Yeah. And I mean, Nikki just posted. I mean, I don't know if it's an anniversary or something,
It's
but
a
she just,
birthday. It's Max's birthday today
oh, that's why she did that. Wow.
because it's my dad's birthday and it's Max's birthday the same day. It's a little heavy for me. It's still a little. It was a very traumatic accident. So, the whole posting, I sometimes just stay a little more quiet these days
Okay.
when I,
Okay.
and I actually didn't realize we had an interview when I saw that. I was like, oh, but I had canceled on you before. So I was like, maybe that's also Maya went into the Maxi story because she's so much on my mind today.
Okay. Okay. No, no. But then, uh, as but being now a dad and stuff, how that has that changed in your creativity as a musician, as a producer? Did when you
Well,
had your
it's
son?
interesting. I would say when Maxi was here, it wasn't a big deal because Maxi she was just made to be mom. She was such an incredible mom that I could go to the studio, could do whatever. It was just incredible. And we would be singing and jamming with Nikolai. And I mean, no wonder why he's making music, by the way. And I would have him in the weekends. We would go play football and stuff, and I would be jamming all my new songs. Listen to this new song, Daddy. He's on the back seat in the toddler, yeah, great. He's just had music. And then you come home and Max is just singing out of her lungs while she's
Wow.
cooking. So he had music around him so much. But when I lost her, which was a tragic evening, but then I was alone with Nikolai, and I was all of a sudden I didn't know how to cook or do much,
Yeah.
and I also remember going to the studio, and I was doing a hi hat, and I was like, "This is the most. Who cares?
Yeah.
I lost my biggest passion in life. I've lost music. I couldn't believe it, and I took 6, 7 years off. I'm barely just coming back actually. And I just learned how to make lunch packs for school, and I learned how to cook. And I wanted him, when you meet people and they go through a traumatic experience. And one thing was me, but my son, he was home when it happened. There could be
Okay.
some guilt related to that and stuff like that. And when you meet people and they're just kind of like, there's something is messed up about them, and kind of their life is in chaos because they never got over traumatic experience.
Mm.
And I just think to myself, I did not want that at all. I remember I also always asked Maxie if I was in doubt how to be a dad. She goes, very easy. Show him you love him.
Mm.
Then everything's fine. So I stuck by that, and I just wanted him to feel safe. So I drove him to school every day, picked him up school, made lunch every day, took him to soccer. He was a big soccer player, as we call it over here, for
Mm.
many years. Went on the fields, didn't do anything else, and took care of my son for
Wow.
5, 6 years. Didn't make any music.
Wow. And I'm sure Carlin would have understood because he's had his
Oh
breaking.
yeah, oh yeah. Oh, yeah. He's part of the reason why we're slowly coming back, and we're very excited. We have this new artist, Faye. We think is incredible. Fei. I'll send you whatever. We're really excited about. We're developing her right now. We're making music again, but that was a left turn in life that I did not see coming.
Yeah. And then you don't have your, it's different because most of us would have family around, mum, but
I didn't.
grandparents and stuff. You don't, yeah.
Yeah.
And,
It
and,
was
and
just me and Nicola.
yeah.
We had
And
to move from that house because we couldn't be in that house because
yeah.
that's and but we found this hippie house, bohemian. We just kind of we're very close today
Yeah.
because
I was
of
going to say, how's the, because
some
Vandross is,
ways. Yeah, and he's incredible. He's just the most beautiful, 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 beautiful son you could ever imagine. So I'm so proud of him, and he's doing so well. And, so we're a little bit different, probably. We really are very, very connected.
yeah.
And
Is he
so
American? I mean,
no, I actually think I actually think he's more European.
okay.
I actually do. Like he's been in Europe a lot. And Maxie wasn't that close to some of her family members, and also her dad was in Guyana.
Mm.
We didn't see him. She had a little bit of a troubled uh, relationship. So my family became more like his Fafa, which is granddad in Danish.
Granddad, yeah. Mm.
Yeah, and then and more fun, and my sister and her two kids, we've been on vacations together and family and stuff like that. So I think maybe that's, and we always been married. I mean, Maxie loved Europe.
Mm.
Every time he came back, she goes, "When are we going next?" And I think if I didn't have my music over here, we would have lived in Europe.
Uh,
I think as a European, you've been to America too. I can
yeah,
hear
yeah.
you.
I was there for
It's a
10 years. Yeah.
very different culture,
Yeah.
for good and
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, no, and that's why I was asking, what does he feel American? Does he feel Danish or a hybrid of
Yeah,
international? Because he's got his mum's side as well.
yeah, totally. No, he definitely, I feel, if I should judge him, he's acting very much like a European kid, and his
Okay.
friends, tends to be Europeans or less American, if you know what
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah. 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 And which is good. I mean, I guess there's a lot of his dad's influence and stuff, and it shows.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, I mean, I guess it shows the fact that you've invested in him, where it could be very much easy to invest so much in other people for your music, and he almost
yeah,
grows up by himself, but you've been able to invest in that because it's not because you're not doing it because of the money, and you're doing it
no,
because it was a passion of yours, but being able to
yeah.
prioritize him and his life, that's stuff
Well,
that you
I
can
think
never get back.
no, and and thank you, but that's very true. And I remember he came to me when I think he turned 18. He kind of took his hands on my shoulders and said, "I know what you've done. I know what you've shielded me from." He even said,
Wow.
and I just want you to know I'm okay. And that's pretty big for an 18-year-old to say that. And I think also what he was trying to say to me, like, you can start living your life again a little bit,
But how is that?
because I've just been taking care of him. It's just all I've been focused on for many, many years.
But how was that like hearing that from him? What was that like receiving
Oh
that?
my God, I cried
Yeah.
so much. I couldn't believe he could express that actually. I
Wow.
didn't even see that coming. It's incredible. So, he's such an amazing young man. You know, I'm really proud of him, and he has his whole life ahead of him. And he's right. You know, we got through a very, very tragic
Yeah.
moment of our life.
When my wife and I were expecting our first son, we attended a course called To Become Three. And at the end of the course, the instructor says, think about 20 years down the road. So we're just expecting our first child. 25 years down the road, you're attending your child's wedding, and they're about to give a speech. And they stand up and say, my mum and dad, now you've got 25 years to write that speech.
Wow,
So when you said that about what your son said
that's
to you,
crazy.
yeah, because he could have said my dad wasn't there. He could have said, but you think about what he says when he gets married in his speech, you know,
What a
and
beautiful thing to put into parents' mind. But that is absolutely amazing to say that,
yeah,
because that's something that's going to stay.
yeah. So I know that
And it
everything
is
he's gonna
important.
say,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
So when you said that he said that
Yeah.
to you, it just that flashed back to me like, wow, this stuff is true because you've invested and he's acknowledged it now. Wait until he gives you his speech at his wedding, you know, because you know,
Oh my God. I'm going to be crying.
yeah, yeah, because that's the one, that's the one thing you've created that no one can take back from you, and it's harder work than recording Whitney #1 track, but it is something that you you can still keep working on and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean,
Well, listen, don't forget, he saved me too,
yeah,
because when I was most affected by, I came home and I found her, and she was still alive, barely. I mean, it's just so traumatic. It's crazy. Um, when I mean, I remember before I went through this episode, people would be calling me and say, I'm depressed. I have a depression. I don't know how to get out of the couch, out of the bed. And I said, let me tell you what to do. Take the right leg and then the left leg and get up. What's the problem? Let's go, man. Didn't have understanding at all
mm,
of that. And, people say, I've been on the edge. I'll be like, yeah, yeah, I've been on the edge too. But now I understand, because I couldn't get out of the couch. I couldn't get out of bed. But there was a little dude.
yeah,
We got soccer.
yeah,
We're playing so and so today. Aren't you excited, Danny? Yes, I am. You're right.
yeah. Yeah, and when we're treating depression, that's the first thing we try and do is to get you into a routine. So even though you're feeling low in mood, the fact that you can have a routine that then keeps it from depression, because depression is you shut everyone out. You're in your house, you can't get out. But because you had a routine and a chore with your son, that meant that it kept you could still have low mood, but it kept you from being clinically depressed because you had to go out
Very true.
and really do something and enjoy that. And you can't and then I think part of hopefully, with your music going forward could be a way of really trying to get people, because a lot of people go through this, and not to the extent that, we can never understand what you went through, but to be able to know that actually y- you can still have a purpose, and your son is really evidence as
Yeah.
to when he told you, Dad, thank you, you've done it.
Oh my
And
God. And also, just, in no way am I happy with what I went through, but I have much more understanding and compassion for people that I didn't have before. I think I could be so driven and so ambitious, and you have to be to get up on
yeah.
this level. It's just part of it. But now I have a much more understanding. If someone says to me, "I'm not going to make the session tomorrow because I'm so and so," I won't. I will go. I totally understand. Take your time.
Mhm.
And when I say that, people be like, "Are you okay?" Because it's so far away from who I was before. So in that sense, life has really given me an experience where I definitely have grown a
Wow.
lot, and much more understanding of people can go through some stuff in life, and it's not necessarily their fault.
Yeah.
They're overwhelmed in that moment, and they can't see. And I
Yeah.
get it. When it's that dark, you can tell, oh, there's a tree out there. I don't see that
You can't
tree.
see it. Yeah.
So I really understand it much more than I did before I went through this horrific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How's that changed? Because you said now you and Carlin are back and you've got a new artist, Faye. what should we expect? Are you guys going more Ace of Base, ABBA, or are we getting? Are we getting?
I'm gonna kill you.
No, I just don't know because I don't know which direction. Maybe
Uh,
you've taken
no,
Clive's money now.
no, we're still doing really, really just incredible R&B, and
Okay.
doing some new songs. We got a couple of new placements. We're excited doing a new song with Chris Brown. We're really excited about some
Oh,
of the new stuff.
wow.
So, we got a song with what's the name? Flow Rider. No, that's
Wow.
right. Flow Millie. Is that yeah? Sorry, yeah,
Okay.
I'm trying to catch up again.
Okay.
Yeah. I think we might have our next single. So we really, I think what has happened actually is that we are more appreciative
Mm.
of things, and I think, I can tell me and Carl, I can easily go into the old, like
Mm.
really hectic kind of thing. And I think that's good to do sometimes. Also, it needs that, sometimes you need that energy,
Yeah.
but there is just a whole different understanding. But musically, oh my God, Soulshock Karlin will always be Soulshock Karlin.
Yeah.
It will be a very loud snare. There'll be some beautiful chords and a lot
Yeah.
of dirt on the bottom.
But then the industry's changed slightly. The music has changed. R&B
It
isn't
has,
as
yeah.
prominent on the radio. So how are you guys adapting to that then? Are you going more hip hop because that seems to be on the air, or pop, or what? I mean, how are you guys able to have a voice? Because a lot of the other big producers aren't really getting the placements as you would have been getting back in the 90s and 2000s.
And you know what? That's okay. Because I think there's a new generation coming,
Mhm.
and we're so blessed. We sold our catalog. We're doing, we don't
Oh,
have
goodness.
that pressure of financial. We don't have a financial pressure anymore, so we can make music because we want to, because we love it. But one thing I've noticed, though, I think the music business has gone through this transition where MP3s coming. Whoa, we've got to adjust to that. Streaming, oh my God.
Mm.
And then you go have meetings with A&R people, and you are talking about a song, and they go, well, how many views on TikTok? And I said, I'm talking about a song. I'm not talking about. And I was with Larry Jackson only like a couple of weeks ago. He's starting this new company, Gemma. And I feel, and I was just on the phone with Mark Pitts today, who runs RCA,
Mm.
does a lot of urban stuff.
He was with
And
Bit Puffy back in the day, yeah.
oh yeah, Mark is the one who found Biggie.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And you know what? It's coming back. It's all about a song. It's
Mm.
in the end, all this, yes, you can make sketches, stuff like that, and you can get them a lot of views. But if you take an influencer with a lot of views on TikTok, and we've done that in the music business, and try to make an artist out of that, very rarely does that actually work.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think we're kind of coming back to, I think we're going to go see some great new music coming. I feel there's great new music coming. I
Mm.
love SZA. I think she's incredible. I think there's some great new artists. I love a lot of the rappers. I love Lil Uzi. I like Gunna. I think there's some great artists out there. I think R&B, is coming. We have your Summer Walker, kind of a little more mumbly kind of thing. But it's gonna come. There's great music being made. Toni Monet, there's many great new artists coming.
Mm.
They are just going through another period than we were. Back in the days, we could write a good song, we could get on a major company, there'll be an A&R man who will help you make your album as good as you can. That has kind of disappeared because everybody can just upload their music. So
Mm.
now you have a situation where there's 100,000 songs being uploaded every day.
Wow.
Think about that.
Wow.
So of course it takes us a little longer to get to, well, Drake, we know he's always going to be fine.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But anyone else, it just takes a longer time to get to that piece. But I think in the end, and I see, where some of the music business people that I'm talking a lot with, executives, where they're going, October London, that Larry signed, I think is a great artist. I think it's going to be amazing. In the end, it's still the same. You got
Yeah.
to write a good song. And when you skip that part, and I think that goes for hip hop too. There's so many great hip hop artists. When people say, oh, the artists were much better in the 90s in hip hop, I disagree. I think, you know, we had an LL Cool J or Bismarck and Big That King, but we also had some other
Yes.
ones, you know?
Yeah.
And just like we don't do now, we got Future and we got amazing artists, you know, we got Travis Scott, we got Lil Baby. Don't tell me that's not an amazing artist, an amazing artist. They're
Mm.
just as good, you know, and we'll always have different levels. So I think in that sense, I don't look at music now being worse than it was. But yes, it's a lot to process now. So where we used to only have selective, you know, artists, and that was
Yeah.
great because they were cared for so much before the songs were released.
Yeah.
And if you tell me, okay, all the kids are discovering music of TikTok, you're already starting in the wrong place. That doesn't mean you can't hear a song that's dope, but think about that. A song is dope.
Mm.
It still has to be a good song. And I think we're gonna come around and see a great new way. I think it's gonna settle in. I think it's gonna be great. I'm not worried at all. Music and good songs are always gonna win, and great artists are always gonna get through.
Yeah, I think for us, it's the big thing is that we missed the 90s when there was a lot of R&B singing about love. Before We Walk Out of
Yeah,
My Life, Heartbreak Hotel. So these were relationships and heartbreaks. We're not, I mean, Summer Walker and SZA and all these guys, these girls are singing about relationships in a very different way. The men aren't really talking, and rapper and hip hop aren't really talking about love and relationships as they once did. It's a lot more, about bling and money, and then women are almost becoming like men when they're singing. And I think that has shocked us. Like, whoa, we had from the 60s, 70s, and 80s and 90s, love was the core message in R&B. That seems to have been changed slightly with what we're seeing now. And I think that's more so some of our dissatisfaction with the kind of music that's out there is the message doesn't seem to be as edifying as it once was.
I do actually maybe disagree a little bit because I do
Okay.
feel a lot of records are still about love. Now, it's true, you listen to, of course, a hip hop album that's going to be just like it was back in the days. It's going to be a lot of bling and show off. That's part of hip hop. It's just R&B has gotten small. It's really what it is. You just don't, I mean, what really is the big difference is that in the 90s, every pop radio station played R&B.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I think that today's artists, except SZA, because I actually will take her out of the other category, I think she is above. I think
Wow.
SZA is unfucking believable.
Wow.
I really think she's an amazing artist. I think she's just as good as some of the best artists in the 90s. You know, but of course the sound has changed, and I think she's daring in making a flower power album kind of thing. I think that's great. You know, and I think we go through when you just name 60, 70, 80, 80s.
I mean,
I don't know
we
how
had the
much
Luther, the Freddie,
love.
we had the
Oh,
Anita
that's true.
Baker, we
Yeah,
had a lot of them talking about
yeah,
relationships, and
yeah,
even
yeah.
Anita,
You're right.
Sade, the group. There
Yeah,
was the
yeah,
Freddie Jackson,
yeah, yeah.
so
You're right.
it was the content of the
You're right.
lyrics. Yeah, and that was what, as I
You're
said,
right. But
yeah,
I think it's just because we don't have, you know, R&B doesn't have a lot of focus right now. I think
yeah,
it's gonna come. I really feel it's coming. I can feel people. I think maybe we needed a break from it. It was
yeah,
so big in the 90s, you
yeah.
know.
It was,
It was
yeah, that
all
was this.
R&B. Every song was R&B. Even like the rock bands were trying to put a, you know, soul beat on it. You know,
Yeah,
it was
yeah, yeah,
crazy.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
I think maybe I just sense I see a lot of new upcoming artists. I feel it over here in America. I feel R&B is going to come. It's not going to be exactly the way it was, but I feel for the first time, and this is really recently, because maybe if we had talked a year ago, I would have been like, yes, you're right. But it's because I'm kind of seeing and I'm hearing a
Okay.
care for in
Yeah.
R&B coming, and I think some of these new artists are coming. I think if we go jump back on in 2 years,
Yeah.
we're gonna have a couple more artists to talk about that we are blown away by.
But
And I
then,
think some of those A&R people that are A&R in these records, you know, they're starting to care a little more too. I can definitely tell you, Larry Jackson is going definitely going R&B, and his mission is to pretty much save black music as it
well, I
exists
mean,
in the
that's what we need. I mean,
yeah, he's the one who did. I haven't. He did the soundtrack for Color Purple. I haven't heard it.
Okay.
But that's on
Okay.
Larry. That's Larry who did that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So that's been a big, I mean, yeah, we had Usher and Hair. Rodney did some stuff. He's got a lot of people on that.
Yeah.
Your new artist. I mean, is this on your label or is she signed or what's the fray?
It's on our label, and then it's gonna be through a major label. And
Okay.
yeah, we
What can you
already
tell us
have.
about what can you tell us about her and the project?
I mean, she's a wild one.
Okay.
She is a wild one. She is from Indiana, and she is like 6 foot tall.
Wow.
And I think I would describe her, when I say R&B, that's not going to be a typical R&B. I would say she's more wild. I think she's closer to, some of the little more edgier kind of international sound. We're
Okay.
still defining her sound, but she just has this incredible tone. Like her tone is something that's so unique. It's almost, she reminds me as an artist, she got almost like a Grace Jones kind of appearance.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
which is fun for us because it's really inspiring for us to be in the studio with her. And she can really do, she can rap and stuff like that. She's just, there's no pocket for her. That's
Wow.
why we're excited. There will be no artist like her when we get this. We just got to get the sound right because we've done so many also R&B records with her, because this is where our
Yeah.
passion is. But we got to turn it up a little bit because she's ready. She's like when she does R&B, she's ready to go.
Wow.
She's one of those kind of artists where she's not holding back.
Wow.
Yeah, we're very, very excited about it. We just signed her, so it's super new.
So,
But we're really excited about her. She's really special. She's just an amazing songwriter too. She has some tracks already, songs. I think one of the songs is going to be on the new Rihanna record, stuff like that. So Rihanna is maybe more where we are at actually. That's
okay.
because she's also less just soft R&B. I
Yeah,
would maybe
yeah.
say if I should compare, maybe we're a little more in that world.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
when do you expect to have at least one of her first singles out?
First single should be in 6 months.
Okay. Okay, around the summer. Okay. How is it now going back to becoming a label head? Do you still have your label back in Denmark? Is that gone or is it still
Oh no.
to get some
Yeah, let's put down the
residuals?
label in Denmark. Yeah. Well, I really, have set it up so we have her manager is an amazing management, and the major company. I just can't say it yet because
Yeah,
we're in the
nice.
middle of,
Yeah.
yeah, but
So,
they've done a lot of, big records and big artists and stuff like
mm,
that. And I try to stay because I'm in the studio with her. I can't go in as the
the
label guy.
business. Yeah, label guy, yeah.
So I really try, if I need to get something sorted business wise, I will say to a manager or say to our A&R person, whatever. We'll take those discussions and they will talk to her because in the studio, I gotta be her biggest support
Yeah.
and safe zone. And that's what me and Colin does with artists. That's where we hug and that's where
Yeah.
we are bad. We write songs about it. And, so if I start coming in going, this one could go to this on TikTok. That's a TikTok record. I would shoot myself. Get
Yeah.
this guy out of here.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're so protective of the studio. So, even though there's definitely certainly a more business role in my life these days,
Yeah.
because we also have a lot of new producers on this, and we have 2 other artists we're developing too. That's kind of what we're doing now. We're setting up a company with new young talent. There's another Danish producer coming in. That's good. Yeah. So that's kind of why also maybe I can inspire. I like this role a lot more than going back in as a producer. I'm probably Colin would say I've become a little more executive, and he's still in the gritty. He's still in the dirt zone,
Okay.
where I'm
Okay.
a little maybe withdrawn because I'm dealing more with the setups and the deals, and we want to make sure all our artists have major record deals or these very good distribution and stuff like that.
Okay.
So yeah, so I'm a little more. Then when Colin calls and I know it's about music, then I just go back to focusing more on music. But I'm not in the studio 6 hours, 7 to 8 hours a day anymore. Those days are gone for me.
Wow.
I still I still make a beat here and there, but you know, a young producer who's better than me making the beat, I don't mind because I'm more focused maybe on the bigger picture of our new company setup.
So you almost like took the role of L.A. Reid while Karlin took the
Yeah,
babyface route and say, yeah, he'll
yeah.
be the creative force. Okay.
Yeah. And it's funny you bring that up because me and LA have now crossed paths so much lately, and you know, because I was an X Factor judge and he was an X Factor judge,
Oh
and
yeah,
he
yeah, yeah.
hired me in America. LA hired me to do all his tracks and beats for his artists on X Factor, and I had just came off being a judge in Denmark, and he wanted to have me because I had experience, and he had the same experience as I had, which was, what are we doing here? What are we doing with the shows? And I quit after one season, and LA quit after a season and a half
Yeah.
because he came to me one day and he said, "So, would you have signed any of these artists?" And I go, "Nope." He goes, and then he said to me, "What are we doing here?" And I said, "Do you remember when you called me?" I said, "You're gonna tell me what are we doing here?" He just had to see it himself.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever joke
Yeah.
about the Monica and the Whitney record? Do you ever joke about that?
Oh, we don't go there. No, that one we leave that one alone. We don't want to get LA upset. You know, we just give them a nice bottle of red wine, and we're good.
Oh,
Don't talk about those songs.
don't talk about the songs. Goodness. But the thing is that when we talked about Tracie and say Monica, could you ever go back and work with some of those veteran artists and try and put out?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you know, we almost did work with Monica recently, actually, and Tracie, we're certainly gonna end up, I know we're gonna end up doing a song with her. I can just tell already because she's so much in our life right now again. And she's just such a sweetheart. And she's just such a special artist. So absolutely. And you know, it's fun you bring it up. If you had said this like 2 or 3 years ago, so I go, no, 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 we're gonna move on to a new generation.
Mm,
But I'm also noticing what's amazing over here. When you see touring, some of the
yeah.
biggest touring acts,
Yeah, New Edition. I mean,
all the
yeah.
acts,
Yeah,
and also in hip
Jodeci.
hop,
Yeah, SW.
it's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
And I've noticed, like, you know, everybody now, it's almost like a lot of that generation goes, listen, you guys, let's show you how we do this. I
yeah,
see so many of these older artists, Busta Rhymes coming new album,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
is back and making an album, like Missy and Timbaland are going. I mean, it just seems like because we're missing something. It's
yeah,
almost
yeah,
like, okay, let's dust us off. Let's give you a couple of good records, and maybe that can lead to inspire you guys.
yeah,
But I don't blame the new generation. I must be terrible having to make music for TikTok or sit on a computer and not be in studio and just
yeah,
it's so hard to make good songs, you know?
yeah. No, it definitely is. But I liked what Jimmy and Terry did when they had their soundtrack where they had Mary, no, yeah, well, they had Mary Boyce to Men, Usher, and they had all these guys, people on their album, and I wondered if there would ever be a Soul Shock and Carlin compilation where you are getting Monica or Tracie Spencer or any of the people that you JoJo if she's still singing and stuff to come in
That's a great idea. I never thought about that.
oh, okay.
I, yeah, I never thought about that actually. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so. No. No.
Yeah, but
I don't think so. But I do love but I do I can see us work with some of the artists we worked with before. I can easily see that happen. But I'll say right now, actually, because we over the last year and a half, 2 years, we've been more in the studio than we've been for like 5, 6 years, just because I've been working.
yeah,
And the more we get out there, the more we meet some of that. Actually, there's some good new artists coming. There's some good stuff going on out there. It's
yeah,
coming. It's coming. I know it looks really bad, and it's been really rough
yeah,
ride for R&B. And man, I mean, that's why it's incredible. I'm the one saying it because if you talked to me a couple of years ago, I would be going mad, going, it's the worst. Like, what is going on? I've
yeah.
had to write a song, and why can't I can't hear what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah, the mumbling, yeah.
I don't know what the fuck you're saying. So but anyways, I'm seeing a lot.
Okay.
I'm seeing some of these old school cats, Mark Pitts, Larry Jackson, there's some beautiful LA Reid's he has a setup now, also
Yeah,
under Larry's setup. It's just it's gonna come.
it's
I
goodness time.
feel because your reaction, what the hell's going on? We have had that, but we're a little
Okay.
bit ahead inside the business, and there's always a reaction going now. That always had that already has happened. That
Yeah.
reaction to what's going on. So that
Yeah.
you see it, you see it because we're not having this no more.
Yeah, no, no.
We gotta stop this. That's just been too many bad R&B records. It's like, and you buy an album and you go, are you
Yeah,
kidding me?
what is the point? I mean, and as I said, just dropping out singles. We can't end by not talking about the fact that on the 29th of November you released a book. Now, it wasn't in English, so I couldn't tell whether this was an autobiography or what was it, the book that you released
I'm
last.
gonna get a copy for you so you can see it. How
Okay.
about that? When I went to business school, I was educated in sales. So no, this is actually a special project for me because it is about everything. I don't know if you can see
Yeah, I can
what the
see you with Whitney. I can see you with
that's
um
Clive.
oh with Clive, yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
so
that's
you
me. That's
actually were
how I
dressing, so you were
look at
dressing
me.
hip
That's why
hop.
I came to New York. This is the guy that come on.
Okay,
Did you want to
okay.
work with that guy?
Oh goodness.
So this is a little bit part of my therapy with what has happened. This book has a lot of stories about our incredible journeys in music business. It also has a lot of personal stories, and I didn't want to write a book without going really kind of deep because when I started in my business or started in the business, it's a very lonely ride to have these high ambitions.
Mm,
Your friends are saying you're nuts. Your family is saying you're crazy.
yeah.
And I go, no, I'm going to America. I'm going to work with Whitney Houston, Tupac. Okay, settle down now. And then I used actually books and documentaries and stuff about people who had these careers and stuff like that. But all the books that were like, I'm the man and I'm just Superman, I didn't get anything out of that because I couldn't, then I can't associate with you. If you're
Yeah.
Superman, you can fly. I can't fly. So
Yeah.
how am I going to learn anything from you? So it's important to me if I did something like this, I would inspire people sitting out right now having these dreams and ambitions and they don't go for it. And
Mm.
and I'm not one of those like Arnold Schwarzenegger books where it's like you just got to go.
Yeah.
There is no plan B. I don't know if
Yeah.
you read it. It's hilarious. I love it actually. Uh, but what I want to say to most people is try.
Mm.
And one of the things I talk a lot about is I have this 6 months thing. If you can get financial secure for 6 months, if you have a house over your head, car, whatever, if you need transportation, food, then in those 6 months, that dream you have, devote all the time you can in those 6 months for
Mm.
that dream. And what a lot of people do mistake in those is they wake up every day and be like, oh yeah, and then the next day they doubt themselves and they
Mm.
doubt what they're doing. I want you to not do that for just 6 months. Just try. And in those 6 months, you're going to be fine. So you don't have to worry about anything else in the 6 months you have ahead of you. And in those 6 months, you wake up and are positive about what you want to achieve, fashion or painter or acting or whatever. That's all
Mm.
you do. Then after 6 months, then you allow yourself to ask yourself, did I achieve enough? Was I happy doing this? To do another 6 months. And that's how we did it, step by step.
Yeah.
And that takes away this constant insecurity and anxiety and
Mm.
pressure you have. Because no, no, no. In the 6 months, you have agreed to yourself, you're just going to believe in this dream. Isn't that beautiful? You don't have
Yeah.
to worry about anything. And we
Yeah.
know in 6 months we will then talk about it, but not now. Now you're going to go all in because you set it up. So you rent that house or whatever, you make sure, of course, things can't just fall apart after 6 months.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
little bit of but I just been trying to explain to people what goes on wrong so many times is that self-doubt comes in all the time. Even in a matter of 24 hours, you have 8 hours to believe in it, and then all of a sudden at nighttime before you go to sleep, oh my God, what am I doing? I shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
And that's actually where you kind of don't let that ambition or dream you have thrive. So that's in this book too. So besides, of course, a lot of our great stories and stuff for our music career, then it's also a little more of a personal thing, also because I went through this traumatic experience.
Yeah.
I also want to touch on a little bit, how I got through something like this. Maybe, hopefully, I can inspire anyone else who go through something that tragic. I'm still here today, and I'm better than ever.
Yeah.
It wasn't, but so I felt it was a good time to do it because it wasn't just I'm the man.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you all my. This is much more very personal story, and it's been really a success in Denmark.
Were there plans to make it available for the
Yes, we are already talking about. Yeah, we're getting it translated actually this in a couple of months here, and we're gonna probably put it out in English with an English publisher. Yeah, because it's a very different kind of book. It's not. I don't want to sit and say, "Oh, my book is the best." It's just a very, very personal book, and I don't think you normally get this personal side of a story. And again, in America, there's a ton of people achieve what I have, but in Denmark, it's really special. And maybe that's also part of why it's an interesting story, because I was so far away from should be able to achieve this.
Yeah. Yeah. But then, as I said, are you well known in Denmark?
Yeah. Well, when you're an X Factor judge, it's kind of like
Oh yeah. So I'm thinking, so they've got the Peter Schmeichel, they still know okay, so
they got this guy who's worse than Simon Cowell on TV.
Oh, were you that guy? Were you the mean guy?
Oh my God, yeah. But they had to stop me because I got called in because they got sued and everything. It's a long story.
Okay.
I just said, well, if you want to start, I just said to her, and I was just saying, beautiful man singing from, you have the groups and you have the, I had the groups, which is also why did you do with groups? And then someone had the young ones and the older ones. This was one of the older ones. And it was the first show. And I was told that was the role they kind of saw me in. So I was very sweet. I said, when he was done, I said, I'm going to really help you. And I just said, you should never, ever, ever sing again. You have absolutely no talent at all. And you'll never, ever make it anywhere. And now you know that. So now you can move on, or you can be a manager, or you can be something else. I thought it was very sweet. But it turned into
Oh goodness.
And we were on national Danish TV like BBC, so I got called. I wasn't a success in Denmark.
Oh goodness. Oh goodness. But your book would be, apart from Denmark, would it be translated into, say, Swedish or Norwegian?
I think it will just be English. I think it will just be Danish to English, and that's it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, so you think by the time Phrase Out, the book might be available for English readers, or?
If not, it's a good opportunity to learn Danish.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, since we've been talking, so your favorite, because it is also, of course, my favorite. So let me now I'm really good. I feel like I'm like, but this is actually from the session.
Oh goodness.
Yeah.
So I can see Whitney Kelly. I don't see Bobby there.
No, thank God. I'm gonna get in trouble this interview.
No. We all love Bobby and stuff. Yeah, no. It has been, one person sent me a message when I mentioned I was going to interview. He said, "Can you ask him to talk about, no, he meant Tamara Savage, and Beverly Crowder. Is it Crowder? Beverly Crowder? Did you
Well, Tamara Savage is the one I told you about that
Oh,
wrote
she was the
Heartbreak
one
Hotel.
who wrote that. But she
Yeah,
wasn't a
so she's
singer.
the one that's the first session. No, well, she sang the demo.
Oh, she did the demo.
But
Okay.
she's the one, she's the one who sold the demo. I mean, can you believe walking into your first songwriting session and writing a #1 record?
Wow.
Very special, sweetheart, and so talented.
Yes, and the other person was Beverly Crowder.
Not quite sure who that is.
Okay, Anthem. Let me see. Was Anthem
Oh
and Crowder? Yeah.
my God. Oh, Anthem were like, oh my God. Two sisters. I think they were twins actually. I'm not
I
even
said it was
sure, but
Anthem and Beverly. Okay.
oh my God. They were the best. They were incredible writers too. We wrote some amazing. I don't even know, was that maybe the 702 record they wrote? I can't remember. They were so special. Oh my God. That's so beautiful. That's really people who know who we work with.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh my
that's what I'm
God.
saying. Yeah.
Some of the that you're bringing us some of our best moments in the studio because they
Wow.
were, when we have talented people in like that, just we are all so excited,
Wow.
because we can feel it in the room that what we're making is special.
Yeah. And then I think the final one was Craig David. Now, could you mention, was that the album with What's My Flavor? Was that the album you worked on? Was it a different
Yeah,
album?
yeah.
Now,
Now, didn't quite understand that single, Craig. Don't kill me.
and that's what I was going to say because his first sing album was groundbreaking,
Yes, yes,
and when he came out, when we all knew, because by the time he came out with the second album, I had moved back to the UK from America, so I was 93 or 2004. So when he came out with that What's Your Flavor, I think it confused us because it took us away from what we were used to.
yeah.
And
Not a
I
good choice.
think unfortunately the your first single is your first impression. And I think that really just became hard for us to go
Yes,
past the single and listen to the album and stuff. Um
and not only that, we I don't know if I did it directly with Craig, but I certainly did with his manager. Yeah, I said, first of all, I mean, I don't want to, I don't want to kill Craig here because I love him. He's to death. He's one of the most talented artists we work with, and I'm
yeah,
so proud of Rise and Fall. I think
yeah,
the song we did with him and Sting is gorgeous. I really, maybe that should have been first single
yeah.
because that still has, and that would have been a wow Sting, and it just think it would be that flavor record. Also, flavor. The word flavor was so gone at that time in
Mm,
America. You
yeah,
already had flavor in your ear. Like it was just
yeah, yeah,
so yeah, it just hey, I don't want to say anything negative because he's such a sweet guy and
yeah.
such a talented, but I don't think that was a good choice for a single. I really think so because I actually think the album is okay. We did, I don't know, 3 songs maybe, I can't remember. His first album was also revolutionary.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I mean, can you remember when you heard "Fill Me In" at 7 Days first time?
Yeah, yeah, and
Oh,
yeah,
oh my God!
yeah. And it was very clean, it was very different. It had the garage stuff and the
Yeah,
guitar, the
yeah,
and we
yeah.
could hear what he was singing. And he would introduced us to, I mean, even the whole step, yeah, the melody
Yes.
throughout it,
And
yeah.
again, one of the things that I found was the hardest thing because we were in England a lot of those days and we were working with a lot of these UK R&B bands. And I'm not going to mention any names, but the level was so beyond American artists.
Mm,
Not because they're not talented, because they didn't take the task serious enough. And that's one of the things I noticed when I came back to X Factor in Denmark too. I'm like coming in and like, we're starting at 6 o'clock with dance lists and whatever. They're like, no, my dad has a birthday and my brother-in-law is getting married. And I'm like, this is not going to go well. So, and I'm not saying, and Craig didn't. Craig was fucking hardworking and he was ripping those vocals up and we were comping the vocals. He was more involved in comping the vocals than we were. And he made
wow.
all the right choices. He was like an American artist. And
Yeah.
then I will say one thing I have to say when we talk about UK artists, because I mentioned my 2 favorite records, Do for Love and Heartbreak Hotel, but there's actually an UK artist that is my third favorite record of all time, and that's Jamelia, Thank You.
Wow.
I love that song we did with her.
Yeah,
I don't know if you
Jamelia.
remember Thank You. It
Yeah,
is
and
such a
Jamelia,
great record.
she was, yeah, to be an R&B artist at the time she came in and not be on a show, she did really well. It's just, yeah, but other things, happened that
Yeah,
really
yeah,
derailed her
yeah.
career. Yeah.
But it's
Oh,
just that one song we did. That's a great song. Also, the way she's using Thank You. And I remember she was in the studio. I hope it's okay. I'm telling just 10 seconds.
no,
She
no,
was
take your
writing
time.
this. She came out of a really bad relationship with her ex-boyfriend.
Mm,
And but she would still have feelings for him, still in love with him. So she's writing this song, and in the middle of this, we don't really know what she's talking about. She's like, "Thank you," and I'm like, "What are you thanking?" Like, and then she goes, "1 minute, I'm just gonna call my ex." And I'm like, "What the fuck?" And she calls him, and I think she misses him, and he's such an ass on the phone. And she goes, "Thank you," and that's what that song is. It's thank
Oh,
you.
well, because now I know
Don't,
for wow, for
yeah.
show me who you really are.
It's that fucking great concept for a song. We were talking about concepts. I
Yeah,
was blown away by Amelia, and she was so gorgeous and it's so
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, just we that was another great experience we had.
yeah. I mean,
But then
she
a
worked.
lot of other UK artists, we just, you know, it's just hard. We came from Whitney, you know, it's like,
Yeah,
it
because
was a
I know
little bit.
you did stuff with JLS and
Oh, I love that song. That's a great record too. That's a little more pop. That's a hot beat.
yeah, 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 yeah. You did, and then I think you did with oh, what's her name with Miss Dynamite? I don't know.
Alicia Dixon with
Alicia
this
Dixon. Yes,
Breathe,
yes.
Breathe Slow. That's a nice song too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Let me just see the last one. That somebody says, David Clark, Cincinnati. Um, are you the one by Usher and Shiro's unreleased
Wow.
song "Good Loving"?
Someone really knows their stuff here.
Yeah,
I'm very impressed.
yeah, Alex. Yeah, this is Alex. Yes,
Well, that's
Alex.
interesting. That song with Usher was only on the European edition of the CD. It wasn't on the American CD. We were pissed
Oh.
off about it. Yeah, we couldn't believe it. We went deep on that record. We found out that Kraftwerk used Speak and Spell, which is this old child
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
tool.
remember that. Yeah,
They
yeah.
Kraftwerk made an old song called Numbers One, and they have this robot voices going 1, 2, 3, whatever in the song. And I was obsessed with Kraftwerk, so we found the Speak and Spell, and we're saying USHER with that machine. So we thought, oh, this is gonna be special. And then they're like, yeah, they only made the European CD. We're like, you motherfuckers, we spend all this time on these speaking spells.
Was that Clive or was that L.A. Reid?
Oh, I don't know. It's probably a Larry. It might have been payback.
Payback. Yeah. And then Sarah's 98 unreleased Good Loving. Is it Shaq?
Oh my God. But who knows all these songs?
You got fans.
Shiro was our own artist because Virgin gave us a record label,
Wow.
and she was our first artist on that. But you know, we were so busy. We didn't pay enough attention. We
Wow.
you know, poor Shiro, she would get us like for like 2 hours, and oh, we gotta go, you know, so and so and call, you know, we gotta go, Usher's calling, you know, it was just like it
Wow.
was, and we just didn't put enough time into a record label as we are now. You know, that's why
Okay.
I feel more in a better position now to, I'm more calm also what I've been through and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So that's what I mean at having the executive role. I'm starting to enjoy actually being a little more an executive and oversee all this new talent. And we've got like great new writers coming, great new production teams coming. It's gonna be so much fun. I'm so happy being back working, you
Is your
know.
son is your son Johnny or you want him to find his own way?
He is not listening to me. He does not want any of my help. He doesn't want to play his beats for me.
Oh,
He is obsessed with break. I'm going to do it my way. Okay. All right.
yeah.
Yeah.
In
And
a
I
way,
get it. You know what?
yeah.
I kind of get it. Like if I was son of someone, I wouldn't want that either. Because then people would just say, and he says that, you know, he's already like, you know, there's this, I think Source magazine came out with this like top 100 of new
Ooh,
underground hip hop producers to watch, and he's on the list. You know, I'm
wow.
so proud of him. Yeah, but it's underground. He is, I mean, underground hip hop, and I think he doesn't even want to say who that is because if he
Yeah.
says Tupac, that's all they want to talk about. And he has had called me from sessions where the artist wants to talk to me, and I can see that that must not be cool for him in the studio. That I don't want to talk to your dad, you know.
Yeah.
So I think he doesn't even say, you know, he doesn't even say he's son of me, but his producer name is 47. Oh, he's gonna kill me now.
You know what? In a way, if he doesn't need the money, and when I say it is where he's not like needs for rent and stuff, it is good to be able to, just like you did, to find your own way where you know that if it doesn't work out, you could always make it back home because it wasn't for the money. But your parents, as much as they were frightened of you being in New York, still, let you find your own way. And
It'll let
that,
me find my way. Yeah, that's
yeah,
just a good point. Thank you for that. And I think I really see that in him. He just does not at all want to use that. And I also think maybe the years we've been through and losing mom and stuff like that, he is a very calm, strong individual. Like I could really tell he is very focused and he doesn't need any of all that. He wants to do it his way. And even though we're doing very well, I'm my dad. I come from a, and by the way, just let's say my dad was a professor. That was hard work. My grandmom and granddad. My granddad was a truck driver. My granddad on my dad's side was a railroad worker.
wow.
When he said he wanted to be academic, thought he was crazy. They took him out of school at 12 years old. He had to start working. So he is also, my dad saw that in me in some way,
Yeah.
that he also went through this. And even though he had no idea what I was talking about, when I was like, have you heard this new record we did with Jungle Bros? He's like, no.
When did when did mom and dad finally say, wow, we now understand?
Actually,
What was the moment?
there was a couple of times because my dad was there was a big economic convention in Germany, and he was one of the speakers down there. Blah blah. Can you imagine how boring that must be? And he kind of left this convention. He's walking through. I think it was in Hamburg or Berlin, whatever. And he's like, he goes into this record store, and this is very early on. But I had just done a remix of Jungle Bus, and that was done in his house. And all over the cover of Straight Out the Jungle, it says Soulshock Remix. And he lifts up and he came back and he goes, I'll be damned. It is your record? I goes, yeah. So that was the first time. But then, I mean, the whole American trip, I mean, they were so proud of me. It's a beautiful feeling. I mean, they're so proud of me.
Wow.
So proud of everything, my mom couldn't believe it. She's just like, she couldn't believe it. She just couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And my dad now, I even, when I think he turned 70 or 75, whatever, I gave him a keyboard and he's now playing music and stuff like that.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, and I think that's always the full circle of them appreciating what you're doing, being proud of what you're doing, and but also the fact that you came back from, you said you woke up one morning, girls, and everyone's around, and you're like, what has happened here? And then being able to,
But that's through my parents too, because I would come home and I would, I would just like, calm, back, remember who you are, back to your core. I was again, thank God I was aware of it. You know what I mean? That's I see some tragic stories, around me,
Yeah.
I'm okay with going through. Success got to me. I think it will for most people, in different levels, but it will. I can guarantee you.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, it has been great. I think if you had your top five producers, who would, not outside of yourself, but if you had five producers who you'd put in your top five bracket, which five would make that top five?
Teddy Riley. Teddy Riley.
Yeah.
We definitely, as we talked about, he is probably the one I studied the most.
Wow.
We talked about
I mean, I don't want to fit that, I don't want all the producers you've talked about, I can remember in my head, but I don't want to, I don't want to influence you.
Well, I mean, my whole, the whole Q-tip and
you mentioned Dylan and Q-tip, yes, yeah.
Dylan and Q-tip, maybe I can put them together, because I feel that sound they came definitely on the top. Then I have an unusual one for you, Trevor Horn.
Wow.
Yeah, why is that? Because he's done some of my favorite records, like Art of Noise, Moments in Love. It's one of my all-time favorite records, and I think I was obsessed with Trevor Horn because he uh, did some crazy records. He did some, Malcolm McLaren, crazy Buffalo Dance, crazy drums.
Wow.
He was always make this very unique style. Even Yes, Owner of a Lonely Heart, the way he uses reverb and all of a sudden it gets dry. So he's an unusual. You probably didn't see that coming, but he is definitely in my top 5. Hard not to put Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis in there, isn't it?
Because they're, you guys are a partnership as well to see how
Totally.
you
And
guys
then,
work.
and I'm talking about all the way back to SOS Band and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. I think that they're probably the most underrated producers because they've done so much for so long that people don't they think of them. I think because of their success with Janet, I think people forget the big catalogs. Alexander O'Neill, SOS Band,
Yeah.
Sounds of
And then I
Blackness.
have to, just because, maybe it's taking me longer to realize it, but Quincy Jones, we have to put him in there because, I was just watching the documentary of
Oh, there was
Thriller.
a Thriller 40, yeah.
There's a 40 years of Thriller.
40, yeah, yeah.
And just unbelievable. And, even Michael Jackson's demos, who are already fucking unbelievable. Really, they are. But, Quincy, it's impossible to have a top 5 that he's not on there. So, yeah. So
Yeah.
Teddy and Dylan, Q-Tip, if we put them
Yeah,
together,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Terry Lewis, Trevor Horn, and Quincy Jones
And
will be.
Quincy Jones. Wow, okay.
I think I'm okay with that. You didn't see
Yeah.
the Trevor Horn coming, I know.
No, no, I didn't. But I think that's the thing. The producers who have like Carl West was influenced by classical music. So when you hear the Albie Shaw sort of the classical stuff, and then they said Eddie F was teaching them about
Eddie,
less is
yes.
more and
Oh,
all
yes.
that stuff. So they were learning how to be New Jack producers on the spot because he was a classical stuff. So it is amazing how, but Eddie learned from Teddy, so you can see where that came
Yeah,
down from and stuff.
yeah,
All-time favorite
yeah.
song. What would be your all-time favorite song? Just because we all have it. Like mine is Michael Jackson's for The Lady in My Life. It is a song that is so magical that I can't listen to it too often because it's that special for me. But do you have a song
I'm gonna
that's
go
like
Tribe Called Quest. I'm gonna go Tribe Called Quest.
which one? Bohemian?
Electric relaxation. Electric relaxation.
Wow.
It's gonna be my favorite. Isn't that crazy? I don't think anyone can beat that song for me. It's
Wow.
just when I heard that Tribe album and that song, then that's for me. It's yeah, isn't that's just Tribe Called Quest, man. They got me hard. So that's I have to say that's my all-time favorite song.
Wow. Did you ever work with
Probably
Q-Tip?
unexpected. No, well, we know we crossed path a lot, and also Q-Tip is Q-Tip.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I don't think he needs anyone. He doesn't need anyone to stay around. So we'll just let Q-Tip be Q-Tip.
Yeah.
But for me, but if you ask me what's your all-time favorite record, I would say Tribe Called Quest.
Wow.
Yeah,
Because you were part of Flavor Unit, did you ever meet up with KG from Naughty?
I
Is
did.
okay.
Yeah, amazing. Oh my God. I mean, Naughty by Nature, did he kill those productions or what?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Hip Hop Hooray and all the, oh my God, just incredible.
Uh,
And Sweet Sky well. Tracie actually knows him very well because I think they worked together.
yeah, so I've interviewed KG. In fact, I've interviewed KG and he talked about his growing up getting into being a DJ. But we forget about Divine
Yeah.
Mills. So he had Next and Coffee Brown and Jaheim. He
Yeah.
did Janae. He did
Yeah.
all that production and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
So
when you ask those guys, like those favorite producers, is there sometimes someone who's unexpected coming in?
no, I mean, most of them would always go Jimmy and Terry. Some people might add Timberland, some might add the
You know
Neptunes.
what? That's a good point. I think he's not. I mean, he is right there.
Yeah,
He's right
yeah,
there.
yeah.
He's right there. I mean, One in a Million is one of my all-time favorite records of the year.
Yeah,
So that's on my top like 3 or 5 list of all-time favorite
yeah.
records. Um, Now I'm not going to say anything bad about him. We're just going to say Timbaland is the
Yeah,
king.
but
Yeah.
as I said, most people with most of them could have. Who have I? Yeah, most of them. Like when I interviewed uh, one of my favorite was Chucky Booker. He talked about Barry White. So
Oh, Chucky Booger.
yeah,
Man, he played some keyboards or what?
yeah, I love Chucky.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Oh, the king.
yeah, Chucky.
King.
Yeah, he's one of my. Yeah, yeah. We've. Yeah, Yeah. So as I said, when I have conversations with producers, it's so much fun because you guys have so many stories, not just behind the music, but your influences to some of these fun records. And but as I said,
Right.
even Tim and Bob, a lot of people would say LA and Babyface, like Jim and Terry. Then they'll say Babyface, and I'll say which version of Babyface, the LA and Babyface, or are we talking about the Babyface after they split? Because he was at different levels when he did the LA and Babyface and when he did just Babyface, and
Yeah, the
so.
reason why, I thought about putting them on the list when you asked me, and there's just from a nerdy production point of view,
Mhm.
Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis have just done consistent, and maybe that's what I want to say about Timbaland too, the consistency of these producers I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Has Teddy Riley ever done a bad record? I don't know if he has.
I mean, I think Teddy started when he was like 12 or
I
so, and
know.
and
And
he's
has Quincy some I think what has Trevor, maybe, but even Seal, even though maybe I'm not super connected to it, but and the reason why I'm sitting here thinking around is that when we're going here, come on.
Oh, I don't think I heard it, but oh, I don't think I can hear it. But what you play? What?
Can you hear it? You can't
No,
hear it?
no.
Oh, we can't. Oh shit.
Okay,
I'm just playing electric relaxation. I want to
okay,
hit.
no, okay, I could hear it.
Yeah,
No,
no, and Alien Babyface again. I think the depth of, you go back to the said SOS bands and Alexander O'Neal's or whatever, just incredible what Jimmy Jam and Terry have done. And then you go to these massive records they did with Jenna, where they create a whole sound around it, which is a little bit when we talk about Faye and we talk about Craig David and
mm,
having those album, that's what we're trying to do with Faye here is actually not just we want to come into something going, whoa, and maybe
yeah,
influences of all the stuff we've been through in our life, because we are also we love Brixton sound. We were very into the whole drum and bass stuff like that. A lot of you can hear them while productions are
yeah.
very,
702. That was going to wonder was that
yeah,
influenced
that's
by drum
also
and bass?
very
Yeah,
drum and bass inspired, right? Because we would always go to London, we would always go to Brixton, we always go hang out because they got this bass sound they have in
yeah. That's what I was going to say when I
UK.
listened to that. You know that.
Jamaican wow, the 303 basses, they're so unique. They're
Mm,
so special. And we always try to incorporate in that in our music a little bit.
mm,
So that's why I think what we're gonna try to do, and funny enough, when we talked about Me Against the World, it's gotta get in because we talk about Teddy Riley my and Jay Dilla, my favorite producers. If you listen to Me Against the World, that's me on the beats paying respect to Teddy Riley on the beat. Then the sample is the same sample that Tribe Called Quest used, Mini Riperton.
mm.
So Me Against the World consists of, it's a tribute in our little nerdy world to all our inspirations. Not many people know that, but that's really why that beat is so Teddy. And that snare is the closest I've been to a Teddy Riley snare.
I'm gonna make sure he finds this out. Like,
Yeah.
I'll send a message, make sure he hears this, because yeah. Wow, yeah. As I say, he's my all-time favorite. So I don't play around with Teddy. Yeah, he's my all-time
Yeah,
favorite.
he's number one on my list too. He's the number
Yeah.
one producer. I think that top five I gave was pretty much maybe in order
No,
actually.
yeah, and it's hard to, I mean, there's so many people that so many producers over the years, but it's important to list people who have influenced you in some ways and stuff, and so no one will ever knock you for that. We
No,
are,
I think we do it
yeah.
all the time. I think that's part. I think we pay respect to each other. I think that's part of the fun when you're producing or even artists too. They will pull in stuff from other. I think that's great. That's what music is about.
Yeah, and then and I think as fans, we got to a point where for the first time in the 90s where we started following the producers,
Yeah,
which wasn't the
yeah,
case in the before. Before you just buy an album and stuff, you don't really care who wrote and produced. The 90s became, oh, this is a Timbaland production, or this is a Teddy production, and all of a
yeah,
sudden
yeah.
it
Totally.
took, yeah, or
Yeah.
the Neptunes, and it took away from the artists
Oh,
having any
okay.
credibility.
Neptunes, they are sitting right out that top five. Not necessarily for Roll by himself, but Neptunes
Yeah, the
with
Neptunes. But you have
yeah,
Rodney Jerkins as well, you know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We like
Yeah.
him.
So it is there's a
He's good.
lot of people, but you know everyone's. But
Yeah,
then
yeah.
Neptunes and Rodney were all part of Teddy's camp, and so they all learned
Sure.
under him and
Yeah.
stuff. The same as
And
Eddie
Missy too,
and
wasn't
Cal.
Missy and Jody C, wasn't it?
So Missy,
Devontae, wasn't
Timberland, yeah, Tweet were all
nice.
part of
Virginia
Devontae.
Beach.
Yeah, the whole
Have you had
yeah.
Teddy on the show?
No, not yet. He's because he's everyone. Timmy Gatlin, who was the original member of Guy, and Damian Hall from
If
Guy.
you get Teddy on the show, you call me or you text me because I'm gonna watch that.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I will. Yeah. He's gonna be one of the like your Whitney Houston story. I am. He's the one that's always elusive. Like, well, I'm gonna do this first, and I'm like, I'll interview everyone else before I interview him, so that it doesn't come like, I've interviewed
Yeah.
Teddy. I can retire now. So, so that
That's
is
it. You get Teddy around, that's it. That's your
yeah.
mic drop. You're
That mic
done.
drop. So yeah, yeah. I had Elder Bart, and that was almost a mic drop situation when he talks about how he wrote songs and his own journey and stuff. And so yeah, so even DJ Cassidy, I'm trying to get
Yeah.
Tracie. So I don't know if you could put a good word in for me.
I'll tell Tracy. She'll get on. I'll tell her. She'll get
Yes.
on the show.
Could I interview Sinise
I'm
and
gonna tell her.
everyone? Yeah.
You know what? As soon as I get off, I'm gonna call her.
Okay. Yeah. I hope you actually found it fun. I know you I've kept you
Oh,
for a
I had a
while.
great time. Oh my God. I had a great time. Yeah, this is a long one. How long have you been on? That's crazy.
I would say it is about 1:30 in the morning here. It is.
This
Yeah.
is the longest interview I've ever done in my life.
So that's what it's like when you talk to a therapist.
Okay, my man.
You don't realize what time it is
Yeah,
and
I
stuff.
know. It's great. No, I had a really good time. Thank you so much. I'm happy I did it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Final your favorite film, because I always got your favorite film. What's your like if you're stuck in a lift and you need to like let me watch my all-time favorite film, what would it be?
Putting me on the spot. How about oh, there's so many, you know. I mean, if I'm skipping The Godfather, how about No Country for Old Men?
Wow. Goodness, the Farley brothers. Not the Farley brothers,
The Brothers,
the
Coen
Coen
Brothers.
brothers. Coen brothers. Wow, that's okay.
Huh. You didn't see that coming either.
I thought you were gonna. No, 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 no. I mean, people talk about Shawshank Redemption or Five Heartbeats, or some people say The Godfather or
Yeah. No,
Goodfellas and
that's
stuff.
why I wanted to do something that wasn't like obvious. I mean, it's easy to do The Godfather, whatever. You know, I have so many. Paul Thomas Anderson is another. I love his movies too. I love Boogie Nights too. I don't know if you know
Okay.
him. I love Tarantino. It could have been Pulp Fiction, whatever. But No Country for Old Men is the one. If that gets on, I'm gonna
Yeah,
watch
no
that.
one has ever said. Okay, I thought you were gonna say girl with the dragon to the golden. It's a Danish film, I think, with the girl with the dragon.
No, I don't even know that.
Oh, you don't even know it. Okay, 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 okay.
Okay, well, great. Well, thank you so much. I
Yes,
appreciate you, and I
yes,
appreciate it. I had a good time.
yeah. I appreciate. I'm grateful
And
that
if
you
you need
did.
anything else, just let me know.
Pardon? Oh, I missed you. What
If
you
you need
said?
anything else or any,
Yes, no,
just
definitely. So when it comes out,
if you
yes,
need anything,
I'll
just let me know.
yeah, I will. And yes, if you let me, if
You have a
yeah.
lot of editing to do.
Well, yeah, no, normally, yeah, with something like this, what it will go into different parts, part one to probably 30, because there's a lot, but that's the part, because I want people to appreciate all the stories and stuff, and it's the inspiration that you had and stuff. So, yeah, so I'll be working on this over the weekend and stuff like that. But I really appreciate the time you've taken and stuff like that, and especially on a day, birthdays and celebrations, but it's been I really appreciate you taking time and stuff. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of Halftime Chat. Please remember to subscribe, share, and comment. But most importantly, why don't you become a member of Halftime Chat? We've got amazing videos, amazing perks, and being able to support the channel. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care.
I never participated in that category.
And somewhere in between
us for even loving us, on which I did miss you really.
What was it like growing up?
Still making an impact on 4 houses down.
I have a couple of pieces.
trying to get this one and that one.
That works for you, but just for me,
No, okay, you're okay.
They don't understand what JoJo's voice meant in all spirits.
Play it.
I mean, I love all different genres.